You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey folks, welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about
how we game.
Dang Skippy.
Woohoo!
It is Thursday night, live call-in show night. Welcome to the live call-in show. I'm one of your hosts, Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Wayne.
We're waiting. There we go. We're gonna see how long we can make that
delay.
awkward silence run.
There was a delay?
Was there a delay?
Yeah, it was a little delay there.
Anyway, yeah.
I thought he was messing with us.
Hold us on deck. Yeah.
It is Thursday night, a live call-in show night where we open up the phone lines to take your phone line, to take your phone call,
Fix that.
to talk about what you've been up to gaming-wise. The one show on the internet about board games that allows you to be the host. And all you got to do is call in.
Only one we know of.
All you got to do is call in, and you become the host of an internationally known
Of course.
board game show.
Oh, yeah. We
It's
are
that easy.
international. Yeah.
We are international.
We got one in Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah. Edmund.
I think Canada at one point we had a call from Canada.
Maybe.
We need a map.
Yeah. We need a map with some pins in it.
But before we open up, we usually start off with some banter or
Primer?
some, a primer.
Primer.
That's the international word for doing that.
Premier.
But, I had some thoughts this week
Did
that kind of turned board game-ish, and I wanted to chat about it.
You started to tell me about this. I got to get deeper into it because he started to tell me, and I was all kinds of confused. So let's hear the.
We're
the
only on
details.
beer number one.
Yeah, first beer. I'm only
First
halfway
beer of
through.
the
Yep,
evening.
Yep.
So he might understand me after I had a few and he had a few.
Okay, here we go.
We got folks watching already. If you're watching, pop into the comments, say hi, so we can say hi to you as well. And then in 9:20, we'll have the phone lines open where you can actually call in.
Phone line.
Phone line open. The one line.
The line open.
But
Anyway.
this week I've had some life changes. Right. I've been a type 2 diabetic for I think I was in my 20s. I made a lot of bad decisions in how I ate.
Apparently.
And
Yeah.
it led to overweight and diabetic, and but I've never really monitored or cared to monitor on a daily or weekly or even monthly basis how things are going. I just kind of waited until I saw the doctor on the regular basis for these prescription refills and got my A1C scores. Your A1C score, for those that don't know, when you're diabetic, it's like a score that you get that runs over a 3-month period. So it kind of gives you your average, your 3-month average of how your blood sugars have been. So it doesn't change quickly, right? And my sugars have kind of been out of whack.
Yeah.
So the doc was like, "Hey, Carlos, let's put you on a glucose monitor because I know you don't like doing that whole finger pricky thing, which I hate. That's why I didn't do it." So I ended up with this real cool thing called a Dexcom, and a Dexcom is like a device you kind of attach to your skin, and it continuously monitors your sugars. And at the same time, it Bluetooth connects to a receiver, a device that receives those sugars. So at any moment, I can open and see a screen. I'm showing it to Rob.
Yeah.
That's not good.
That's a number. I don't know what that means, but it's a
That's
number.
a high number.
Isn't it? Okay.
But it's got like
That's
a graph, like with points, like every 5 minutes, it's like putting in data to tell you how your sugars are doing, right? And I got it because you know what? He wants numbers, and I don't want to do the finger stick and log it method.
Yeah.
So I just agreed. Okay, stick the thing on my arm. I'll just point this device at you, and you can get your numbers, doctor.
Okay.
I don't care. I'm not changing how I live my life.
Sure.
Well, dang it, I was wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what it is? It reminds me of in-game versus end-game scoring. And I think Wayne and Mitch talked a lot about this in one of their recent conversations in a podcast, and it kind of bled over into the Discord. We had a lot of fun talking about, very specifically, Ticket to Ride, in-game versus end-game scoring. But it got me thinking about this device and its continuous scoring of my blood sugars. Like, I can't not stop looking at it, number one.
It's like a new game.
So, yes, it's kind of like a little Game Boy. So I'm always opening this thing up to look to see where am I. And then I'm looking at it to see, okay, so I'm here right now with my sugar levels. It's time for me to eat. You know what? Let me make that a 1 slice of bread sandwich instead of 2 slices because I am kind of on the high side. So I'm already starting to see modifications in my behavior because of the awareness of where I am on my score, which I didn't expect that because I'm very disconnected from my body. in the sense like I don't recognize or feel if I'm sick or how I'm being impacted by my high sugars, right? So I'm not self-aware. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like an awareness, right? My man Odak in the chat, my A1C was 9 last blood test, buddy. I was at 11. So you and me, I'm trying to get to your 9. 11's not good either, but 9 isn't great. So Odak might have some
issues,
with me too.
Yeah.
But this machine has got me changing what I like. Rob, normally I'll pound a few cookies before bed.
Pound a few cookies. That's a new term. I haven't heard a pound. I've heard a pound of beers, but not a pound of cookies.
Right? Like I'll have a couple cookies before bed. You know, that's how I've always been. I've always had a couple cookies before bed, a glass of milk, and then I go to sleep. But then the last couple days,
That's a lot
it's
of
like
sugar at the end there.
it is. And I didn't care before because I didn't know where I was. But now that I knew that I'm like, okay, it's bedtime and I'm over 300, maybe I shouldn't have these cookies. So then I kind of switched to a different snack before bed, something more protein based. But it's changed. It got me thinking about gaming and how it changes how the fact that I'm receiving immediate feedback on each action I do and how that changes my score. It changes the next action I do. So in games where you're scoring in-game during the game and you're watching how, okay, if I do this now, I get this many points and Rob takes a turn and he does a different thing and he gets more points, watching that in-game scoring changes how I take my next action.
Kind of feel an immediate pressure to react and to do something that you might not normally do because somebody just scored some points. Now I got to score some points, so maybe it changes my approach to the long game. It makes me more an immediate thing. I got to just point out real quick here. There's a very clear delay. Wayne mentioned it right before we went on the air, but I can tell from Wayne's reactions that there is about a 4 or 5 second delay. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to fix that, but just so you know, Wayne. While we're talking, I can see your reactions are all about 4 or 5 seconds behind us. So we'll see what we can do to fix that. But yeah, that's an interesting thing about it. I agree 100% that I hadn't thought about it at all until you mentioned it right before we went on the air. So it's got me thinking about it here the last 5 minutes. And yeah, I mean, I think it definitely can change. Seeing how things are scoring as you go, like I say, kind of could put that immediate pressure on you to, hey, you know, if nobody else is scoring points, okay, well, I can maybe build my engine, I can do a thing. But if somebody starts scoring, I one example I think of is, Dan Erdzik has gotten really good at Russian railroads, and we've been playing Ultimate Railroad and Russian railroads online quite a bit, and seeing him immediately do things and start grabbing things that are immediately getting him points, I feel that pressure like, crap, I can't play my long game. I can't do what I came into this game thinking I was going to do because he's grabbing stuff and he's making things happen. And so I gotta keep up with that.
You start seeing what is he doing
Yeah.
and how did it gain him that chunk of points.
Yeah.
And then you start changing your decisions to be more in line with those actions, like the good behaviors.
Yeah, I think it definitely affects me.
But then the end game, like the way I was living before, was as if the board game was end game scoring only. Like you did not know how many points you had or your opponents had until the game was completely over.
Yeah.
And I think what that led to was me not really changing behaviors, because having an end game scoring model where you only know how you're scoring or how you're doing once the game is over, it led to me having to remember, what did I do during the last hour or two?
Yeah.
And trying to figure out what was it that I did or didn't do during that period that led to where I am now. It requires retrospective. It requires remembering what I did in the past. And then it requires in the next game, the next opportunity, remembering to change based off of what I did remember I did or didn't do during that last. All that complication didn't change my behaviors. So every time I showed up at the dock and my A1C was like, hey, it's 14. All right, doc. And like 3 months later, all right, we're down to 12, but we're still not good.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't really remember exactly what I did over the last 3 months. But all right, doc.
Yeah.
Right? Just thumbs up.
Good to go. Yeah.
But now that I have this in-game scoring model of like health,
Yeah.
it's really changing my behaviors.
Yeah.
But when it comes to gaming, at the end of the day, we know that the best games have a little bit of both.
Yeah. And it reminds me of scoring a ticket to ride, Wayne, throwing it over to you here. So we got this whole thing about in-game scoring, scoring at the end, scoring mid-game. So I don't know how that affects what we think or what you do. But I think, and it looks like from your reactions, you may be back on live with us. So.
Yeah, I mean, back live with you guys now?
There you go. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
yeah.
You're good.
All right, there we go. It could have been a little blip there. I think it's a lot different when you're talking about your health than
Oh,
a
yeah,
game,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Obviously, like
we're gamifying it here.
Yeah,
Carlos's health
well,
gamified.
I mean, I work in education, and certainly gamification is a big thing in education these days. And how can I even see it with my kid in his school. They do all kinds of, games and learning through games and things like that. So, it's cool. I mean, I'm still not going to change the way I score Ticket to Ride. I don't care what y'all say, but
I debate you there, but
I could look at the board and see how many points people have. I don't need to,
Okay.
but but I think you brought up I think the more complex the game, the more the in-game scoring will impact your decisions down the road. Because, but Russian Railroads is definitely a good example. It's a million different things to do, but if you can see that someone's beating you to it, do you have to change that strategy? Or similar thing like Ark Nova or any kind of game where there's strategies. If you fall behind on that specific strategy, and you can see someone scoring a bunch of points from it, well, you could either follow along and just permanently be behind, or you have to change strategy to try to catch up. And so I think that's where you can see that, even like viticulture, like, someone's going the route of cards versus building the wine, or somebody is gonna be harvesting wine before you. Okay, well, they're gonna harvest before me. That means they're gonna make wine before me. That means they're gonna also fulfill a wine order before me. So I'm gonna miss all those bonus spots. So maybe I don't do that. I do it a different way. So, I think in-game scoring can drive you to change your strategy because you can see what other people are doing and have to adjust to it.
And I wonder how well a game could affect that too, because if you're new to a game and you're playing with somebody who's played a bunch of times or just even a handful of times, if you see them starting to score points and you're not scoring points, then again you're starting to think, all right, well, what am I missing here? What do I need to be doing to score points? But if it's a game and you've got some confidence in, hey, I can build a strategy here. I know if I do this X, Y, and Z, I might fall behind a little early, but I'm going to make that up in the in-game part of it. So that probably has a little bit to do with it. But yeah.
I think that the health monitoring stuff is because I can even say it myself. I started doing I turned step counters on my phone, step and heart, heart points in Google tracking a couple months back, and just, tracking how many steps you take a day. And you realize if you work in an office environment, I sit at this computer desk all day working, and at the end of the day, I've got 1,000 steps, and it's that's not good. Let's start getting out and walking in the mornings and then walking at night, trying to get to that 8,000 to 10,000 or 12,000 steps in a day. And just doing that, I'm down 14, 15 pounds in the last 3 months, 2 months, whatever.
Nice.
So it's just natural, as you walk, as you do more. And I think, that reader that you got on your arm there is already making you realize, I need to up my protein and not have as many carbohydrates and those kind of things. And just changing your habits in a more natural way, I think, than just crash dieting, whatever slow
Right.
progress towards making better decisions as you go. So
Yeah, it's like when you see the end game coming and you try to just crash for a bunch of points. Like when I got that doctor's visit coming, it's like, okay, now I gotta eat healthy. I got
right.
2 weeks to get this right.
Yeah. We gotta adjust the numbers, make it look good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and having this monitor allows me to make better decisions. Like I'm learning that, instead of drinking beer, I'm drinking whiskky because
Okay, yeah.
it's got no carbs.
I
don't know
Maybe
that.
the right decisions, but
Still has sugars.
yeah.
Well, it's actually 0.0043 grams of carbs in a shot of whiskey. That's practically zero.
Sounds really low.
Yeah, it's very, very low. So,
What do I know? But
I'm sure
I mean,
doctors wouldn't tell me that's a good trade-off, Carlos.
Yeah.
How about you cut
Yeah.
out alcohol?
just
Yeah.
stop
Yeah,
drinking
that's not
beer,
happening.
load up on the whiskey.
It's
My man
never
Odette.
about abstinence or overindulgence. There's a middle ground there.
Better
Yeah.
decisions. What are those?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to stay ignorant and yeah.
But
Well, and I think-
having kids recently has got me changing.
Sure.
I wanted to be ignorant.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Husbands diet first for a reason.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
we're
sorry.
idiots usually.
Yeah, we do stupid stuff. Yeah.
It's because we want to go first.
It's
It's usually it.
Don't want to stick around for that.
Right. That's kind of how I live my life. But now
Yeah.
it's like, well, I'm having another kid.
You
So
gotta
it's
think about
like,
it a little bit.
I got to stay a little bit longer. I got to make it at least another 20 years.
Long time.
That is.
20 years.
That'd be 63, bro. That's a long time.
You got another 40 years, my friend.
Medical science better get better quick.
It is every day.
I put a lot of Oreos through this body.
Yeah.
So that was my thought of the
Well.
day. That had me thinking. And at this point, well, you know what, open up the phone lines early.
Oh, couple
And
minutes early.
we'll talk about what we've been playing recently.
Yeah.
Any other topics y'all want to bring up, and let the folks at home decide if our conversations are worthy or if they just want to take them over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was one I remember now. You gotta look up her name. I think it's Claire McGonagall. I know her last name is McGonagall because it's like the Harry Potter gang. She's on TED Talks a lot, and she's like a scientist and talks about the gamification of just everything and how you can create game. Like, you know, she talks about like certain physics problems that were unsolvable forever, that they stuck it in a video game, and you know it was solved within a week because you have thousands of people around the world trying to crack this code in the game, because they're not even thinking about it as like a physics problem. They're thinking about it as a video game, right? And how you can solve, you know, logistical issues and world hunger and all these kind of things by turning it into a game. And you know, think about the amount of hours kids play Call of Duty or World of Warcraft in a day. You know, you'd solve a lot of problems with gamification of things.
I think like a Tomb Raider, like a puzzle in there.
Yeah,
we think we're playing a video game, but really we're, you know, solving
cancer.
Right.
they've had tons of examples of that in the last 5 or 10 years. So.
Yeah. Yeah, gamification has definitely been a hot thing. You hear about that a lot. You hear about it in businesses, companies now using gamification.
See, but companies say that all the time, and I'm like, you keep using this word, and I don't know if you know what it means.
No, they don't know what it means.
Like,
it's a buzzword.
It's a buzzword for them.
Oh, it's just another buzzword for them. It's like another hot topic, and then it kind of just disappeared already.
Yeah.
Like it's already off the radar. Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway,
it's us who's got to keep that going.
Yeah, how do we?
Yeah,
right. Phone lines are open 813-618-7099. Call in. Let us know if you have any topics for us tonight. Rob, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about some games you've been up to.
Yeah, I want to talk to games played. So hopefully we can bring up a few pictures of these. I don't have a computer at my my fingertips, so
it's okay. We have a Wayne.
Yeah, one of you two guys will have to pull up just a few things, but. Wayne hosted a game day at his place this last weekend. What was it, Saturday or Sunday? I can't remember.
Sunday.
Okay, yeah. Yep. So Sunday, we're over at Wayne's house, and very, very nice. Second time I think I've been to your place to play games. So Carlos was asking me before. He's like, "How's the game area?
Yeah,
how's it laid out?"
The setup?
So I was telling him, I was like, "It's a good deal. He's got a nice living room table there. It's got a TV. You got a piano right there. So if you want to entertain, you can just jump on a piano and yeah. But no, good layout there. So we got some games in. There was 4 of us, and so I guess I'll talk a little bit about what our intention was. So we had talked a little bit ahead of time about we were curious about. I don't remember the full evolution, so you can help me, Wayne, on it. But we talked about trying to schedule an 8-hour game day, so exactly 8 hours, and we wanted to see how many games we could get in. And so at one point we kind of started throwing out some really light games, and then I don't remember who. It was probably me because it's too light. But
I think it was Sam's initial thing is how many midweight games can we get in a game day, and then a couple of people jumped on it, and we were making lists, and then of course Rob's like, are those really midweight?
So we had to define midweight, so that was important.
So,
I was like, we're not talking party games here, because some party games started getting in there. I was like, no, I want to play games that, you know, maybe about an hour. We're not going to talk about playing.
Yeah, the goal was as low as 30 to 90 minutes, but like you can get a midweight game that's 30 minutes.
Buffet gaming says, you know,
buffet gaming, yeah. So.
But yeah, so we wanted to I wanted to go not party game. I wanted to be a little bit thinky. And the crowd we had, I think, with was you and I, Sam, and Michelle. I mean, we are all a little bit on the thinkier side. I know Michelle's kind of in the middle there, but anyway. So I kind of pushed back a little bit. I was like, no, let's get games that are right about an hour. Games that we can kind of get into. I threw out there that I was really interested in playing games that I had not played, and I appreciate that you and Sam and Michelle all brought games that I had not played. So all 6 of the games we got in, I believe it was 6 games. 6 games we got in were all new to me games, so they all had to be taught to some extent. Somebody had to teach the game. But again, we got 6 games in 8 hours. We even did a break for pizza for probably 20, 30 minutes. So I thought it was pretty impressive, the amount of games we slipped in there.
It was 5 of the 6 were new to me as far as physical. I had played one of the others on BGA. So yeah, 6 games in just under 8 hours, and pizza break, and you know some other just kind of teaches and talking. So it was good. It was and they were all, I think, all the games were good. It wasn't like sometimes you try to do that and it's like one game you're like, that's not a very good game, but they were all really good games.
Yeah, I enjoyed all of them. We started out with Wayne teaching Snowtails.
Man.
Which is a game we've talked about on the show a few times. And Wayne,
Rob and I both love racing games.
Yep, racing games are good.
Yep.
And Wayne kept mentioning, he's like, Snowtails, have you guys played Snowtails? And for I don't know, for 6 months now, I've been saying, no, that's one I wanted to try. And I knew it was well regarded on Dice Tower. They gave it a great review a while back. It's been a little while since that one came out, but Wayne had kept telling us, oh, it's like this. And I didn't come into it thinking it was going to be as much like, and this is probably just in my mind, but like Flamme Rouge. And as we played it, it felt a lot of Flamme Rouge to me.
There is a lot of Flamme Rouge to it. I think the only difference is you have it's a wider board, and that the whole drift mechanism where and your speed and calculating your speed is that's where it gets tricky. But yeah.
So you got 2 lead dogs, and so you're playing cards. You can only play the cards number 1 to 5, if I remember.
Yep.
And you can only play matching cards. So you get a hand of 5 cards, and you have any array of those numbers 1 to 5 of those 5. If I want to play a card, though, or multiple cards, they have to be the same number. So if I want to play 3s, then I multiple cards, and I have a couple 3s, I have to play the 3s. So you've got the 2 speeds of your 2 lead dogs, and then you've got a breaking speed. So what you do is once you play your card or multiple cards for that round up to 3, you take the total of the 2 lead dogs. So if it's a 3 and a 3, it's a total of 6. And then let's say my breaking speed is also a 3. That reduces the 6 down to a 3, and I'm moving 3. If my lead dogs are balanced, if they're the same number, my sled is going to move straight ahead. If one side is pulling harder than the other, if my left dog or my right dog is a 5 and the other one's a 3, I'm going to take that total, subtract my breaking speed, but then I have to drift either left or right in the direction of the dog that's pulling harder. And so you've got this track, which, again, this hairpin turn, this 90-degree U-turn that you're showing there was in the game we played. And so there you've got to really make a decision about which lane to take, how to cut in. You also have a blocking mechanism. I don't want to get too long into this in the details, but if you run into somebody, it stops your movement, and so you've got a plan to make movements around. We have these little trees in our game, and so if you hit a tree, you take damage. If you hit the side,
Sonny Bono.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Too soon. But if you hit the side of the board, you take damage. If you hit the one in front of you, you take damage. And damage is unique in this game because when you take damage, that becomes one of the cards in your hand for the whole rest of the game. So you have a hand of 5 cards. If I take a damage, now I only have 4 number cards in my hand each round.
For the rest of the game.
For the whole rest of the game, I've always got that 1 damage. I ended up taking, it was 3 damage?
3 of the 5, yeah.
Yeah, 3 of the 5, about the halfway point. And so the last, well, no, it was probably 2/3 of the way. The last third of the game, I made my run and just barely snuck out a win over Wayne by crossing the finish line a turn or 2 before him. But
yep.
I kind of played it out when we hit this row of trees. And I was like, you know what? Screw going around the trees. I'm just going to plow through the trees. I'm going to take the damage. I'm close enough to the finish line. And it in my case, just happened to work out. But it was fun. It was, I'm going to use this word, light. It was definitely light. Yeah. But
it's a little bit less than Flamme Rouge, probably.
Yeah, I'd say a little lighter. Flamme Rouge, you've got the 2 different bicycles to worry about because you're trying to, your sprinter and your rouleur. You're trying to balance the 2 of them back and forth, and then you got the fatigue that you're trying to manage in Flamme Rouge.
Hey, Ron Fraser, I missed your call. Try again.
Oh, sorry, Ron.
I was too enthralled in Rob's story.
In the conversation. So, but I liked it. It was definitely a good racing game. I would put it up there, probably my top 10 racing games. There's so many racing games out there. So Sam says, "Yay, Rob liked it," or killed it.
Yeah,
No, I thought you said liked
killed
it.
it. He did. He came in. Rob, we were ahead. All 3 of us were ahead of Rob by a good chunk going into the first big hairpin turn, and he hit like a perfect path and drift, and he just flew by us, and then it was just never looked
Tokyo
back.
Drift.
Yeah, he came perfectly through it. So
it was one good set of cards. I didn't even have to slow down. I just sped around the turn and it sped off. And yeah. So it was.
I like the game because you can. I play with my 9-year-old and we played it with gamers, and you can make all kinds of different tracks and you can put different obstacles, and there's like rules for like a race season in there. So it's a fun little game. It's like you say, it's definitely on the lighter side. Yeah. But it's a game that's accessible, but also you can mess with it and make it a little more tricky. So
absolutely. Second game I'll jump into, I think I have them in the order that we played them here, and I'm not sure exactly how to say this one. I had never heard of this one, but Sam brought, is it Xian or Xian? XI''AN. And this is, let me pull it up here. I want to say when this release was.
2017.
2017, there you go. 2017 release. This one I liked quite a bit. I'm a little surprised that I liked it as much. This is one of the games that I found myself thinking about after we played it. I know somebody made the comment, it might have been you, Wayne, that this was kind of almost a variation of what was the other game?
Terracotta Army.
Terracotta Army. There you go. And it felt kind of Terracotta Army. Again, the theme is right on there. You're building the warriors in the Terracotta Army in the I forget the term for it. The mausoleum. There we go, in the mausoleum. And so this one was definitely more Euro-y. This one was a step up, I think, in complexity. And you can explain this, Wayne, if you want to jump in.
No, I mean it was good. What I like about this one is it had a predefined number of turns, and you can kind of see what people. You had 3 different scoring areas, and you can either build one of the terracotta things or paint them. And by painting them is how you get dominance in one of the 3 areas. And there's basically 4 actions you can take, and you get 2 actions per turn. So you can either, build a guy, paint a guy, take a sort of equipment card, which you could then it gives you tags that you can score multiples and combinations of. And what I liked is like the whole game is you have a set deck of cards, and you're going to play 2 every turn. Or you draw 4, you can play 2 each time you do a turn. And then that is your whole turn. But how you play the cards is cool because either, there's the number that gives you kind of where you go in turn order. And then there's you use the action part of the other card. And there are certain cards that give you permanent actions. This definitely reminded me of Terracotta Army. This clearly came out before it. Yeah. And I think Terracotta Army is a bit more complex. There's more areas and more things to do. And the scoring mechanism in Terracotta Army is way more complex than this.
Yep.
Which is, I think, why I like this one even, I think, better, is because it plays faster. It's complex enough, but doesn't overstay its welcome.
So. I like this for what it is. Again, you mentioned it's definitely not as fiddly. It's not as complex, probably, as Terracotta Army. I do like the fact that even though there are a fair number of choices and a fair number of things to do, the fact that you just take 4 cards off the top of your deck, and you're going to deal with those 4 cards. You got to find the best combination of the way to pair them up, because it's 2 cards and 2 cards for each of the 2 steps, the 2 workers that you put out, but you've got to put them out in combinations. There's only a certain number of permutations of what you can do with those cards. And so based on the multiple actions that you could possibly do in the game, you're limited by what you drew that turn. And it's really, as probably makes sense, that there's the cards were numbered, I think, was it 1 through 6? I think 6 was the highest.
Yeah, I think so.
Your initiative is based on one of the cards that you choose. So your 6 cards usually gave you the most of something. Like there's the tax collector. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in your deck of the tax collector. So your 1 gives you maybe 1 coin. Your 6 is going to give you 4 coins. But then you have to choose to use, I might use that 6 as my initiative card, which will let me go first, let me do something out on the main board that I really want to do. But if I use that for the initiative, I don't use it for the bottom part of it, which would be the money collecting on that one. So if I had the 1 and the 6 of the tax collector, I might play the 1 just to get 1 coin, and the 6 just so I can go first, because the first part of it is you collect whatever's on the card, and then the second part of it is you have your choice of 4 different options out on the main board of what you want to do. And so it's a neat little dichotomy of choosing how to use those cards, and then choosing the initiative order. So you might burn a card.
And just sort of like we're talking about in the beginning of the show, where you change your strategy as you go, because if you use slow initiative to get more bang for your buck out of the cards, those spots, those 4 action spots, if there's already people there, you have to pay them for going there second or third or fourth. So it makes it more expensive to do that action. So sometimes you want to be first because you want to be the first one to go to there, so you don't have to overpay for it. So.
Yep. Just a quick side note, I'll jump to the next one here in a minute, but Carlos is working on the phone here. I think I
got it fixed.
I think I might have it fixed.
Yeah,
So,
I had to call it from my other phone over and over again to get it right, but I think I got it.
Make sure it worked. Okay. Next one we played was a game that, and Ron may call here any second. He's been trying to call in, according to the chat here.
Now, wait a minute. This isn't Terracotta Army
Light?
Right, Terracotta Army, this is not the one that we played.
No, this is well before Terracotta Army.
Yeah, this is a couple of years beforehand.
There's so much similarities.
They were similar. Again, the theme is similar. Again, you're building the warriors into the mausoleum.
It's a little simpler and less complex scoring. I think the Terracotta Army, the scoring in Terracotta Army can become kind of annoying.
Yeah, just like, let it out. Let it out. We know.
Yeah.
So,
No,
you
I'm
know.
just saying. I think it's a little.
Toronto was
it's a little-
magical. The
it's a
score
little
was
overly
magical. He
fiddly.
loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do got to play Tarot Card Army again because I think Rob and I have discovered that I definitely when I played it last there was a rule or so that we got wrong. That
I think so,
We'll
yeah.
change it. So
We'll play it again and try.
play it
I
again,
gotta-
definitely. Yeah.
I'm going to pick up a copy of it here one of these days, pretty soon. But
Sure.
Next one we played is Pioneer Days. This one was brought by Michelle. She brought and taught this one. This is another 2017 release, just looking at it here. This one is one that I had mentioned I was really interested in because I think it was Z Garcia on the Dice Tower who had given this one a rave review a few years back, probably right after it came out, so probably 2017, 2018. And it was a game I had never heard of to that point. It was completely off my radar. Tasty Minstrel Games, TMG, who, rest in peace, isn't around anymore. But this game was quite a bit of fun. I liked it, so I see why Z liked it so much.
It's punishing though.
It can be. It can be punishing. Yeah, it is. It is a lot of mitigating bad stuff. And I know when we brought it out, Michelle said something about Great Western Trail, and then I think you made a joke about, oh, we're all going to die of dysentery, and she's like, well, possibly, because that may happen in the game. So yeah, you're a resource management game. You are dice drafting. I guess it is dice drafting, yeah, because you're rolling dice at the beginning, and then you're each drafting a die in turn order. You're choosing how to use that dice. There's multiple ways to use each of your die. There's a board there. You can kind of see the dice on the bottom of the board. You can either use the die face to put it in its corresponding spot on that little board to take an amount of money, or you can use the die to take the action that the die does, or there's a set of cards that are laid out below the board, and you can put the die in its particular spot that matches the die face to take the card that's below that spot. And so talking about punishing, though, there are 4 tracks. You can kind of see them there. There's a blue, a red, a yellow, and a green track that are all bad things. And so the one die that doesn't get drafted, after everybody drafts a die, the one that doesn't get taken, that marker moves up on one of the 4 bad tracks. And so there's some mitigation. The person who goes first gets the best choice of the die so they can kind of get the juiciest thing that they want to get. The person who goes last decides which one of those tracks move up. And there are black dice in this game that if you don't take the black die, somebody doesn't take the black die and it's the last one left, all of those bad tracks move up one. And so this is a game that bad stuff is going to happen.
Oregon Trail.
Exactly, and you have to be ready for it because there's the top one was storms, and that one there's a storm, and if you don't have wood resources that you've saved up, it destroys, or it actually doesn't destroy, it damages right some of your wagons. And so that can potentially reduce the amount of stuff you can carry, and it gives you a negative 2 points, victory points at the end of the game for each damage that you take. There's one for raid.
Red takes half your money.
Yep.
Yellow kills your. You have to have money to protect your cows or something to protect your cows or they die. And the last one is your people. You have to have medicine for your people or they die. So, yeah, there was a couple times in the game where I know Rob had a nice little group of cattle or people. You had a bunch of people, and then all of a sudden the medicine thing hit real quick and boom,
completely wiped them out.
Wiped out his entire
all 3 of my people. Yeah, so it's like, well, I start over again. So I started drafting some more people. The people are nice because they tend to either give you in-game scoring that's nice. Well, actually, they all give you some kind of in-game scoring, but then they give you some kind of ability as the game goes along. So they're nice. I'm
sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, I was just gonna say they're nice to have because they give you some ability, but again, like you say, medicine, you got to make sure you keep some medicine on hand because they're gonna go down. But
yep.
Okay, I think I fixed the phone.
Oh, we got a caller,
and I did that again. I put the wrong camera on during the screening.
Nope. Oh well.
It is what it is.
I wasn't paying attention. I was just talking to Wayne. Yeah.
Well, hello there, nerdy weds.
Oh, cool.
How are you, William?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing good.
I'm trying to suss out why I can't get my phone to answer calls the right way.
You got it working now, so that's good.
No, I had to switch it to the other phone.
Oh, did you? Oh, you're on the backup phone.
Yeah, the backup phone.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we have phone line.
Phone line
Two
issue.
different phones,
we have phone
but
line
only
issue.
one line at a time.
We can't say phone lines issues, but it's phone line issue.
But we got it working. And our man William from Nerdy Weds, which William, I was just watching you and Keena driving back from, I believe, Jacksonville.
Yeah, we were on our way back from Game and Party Con.
Game and Party Con.
Yeah, it's their second annual convention there in Jacksonville. It's a board game convention. and they are doing a lot of things right. They really are.
Sounds like it. I watched your post review of it when I guess once y'all were back home, and I got to mention to Carlos.
Yeah.
I said I know you were raving about the con, but what was the deal with the fans and the air conditioning and?
Oh, that was the venue.
Okay.
It got very hot in the rooms, in the main rooms, and it was very uncomfortable in there, especially during the day in the height of the heat. But we all muddled through it. We had a great time, and we don't hold that against the convention itself. It was a venue issue.
Okay.
Yeah, that happened to
A
us.
bunch of sweaty nerds playing board games.
X-wing.
In a room.
No, that happened to us at TKC, the Three Kingdoms Challenge Blood Bowl tournament
Oh.
last spring in Cocoa Beach. The AC went out in the game hall, so we had, I think it was like 50 Blood Bowl gamers. And Barry was there.
Shirts off.
Oh, Barry was shirts off. Barry was shirts off playing Blood Bowl.
Gross.
Which I think was a benefit because it distracted his opponent.
Oh, is that it? Bought him a few wins. Yeah.
Go ahead,
Oh,
William.
geez.
Were you shirts off at Game and Party Con?
No, I was not shirts off. Fortunately, we brought in some fans that kind of helped mitigate some of that and closed up doors, and it allowed the rooms to get a little cooler than they had been in the days prior. But overall, we had an amazing time at Game and Party Con. They do a couple things there that are unique to them, as far as I can tell, with the board gaming sphere. One of them is a play to win table, where they have a table full of games. You go over and take a game off the table, take it to your table, play it. If you like it, you put your name on a list. At the end of the convention, they draw names and they give that game to whatever name is on the list for that game. And they have a raffle that works very much the same way. Table full of games. You buy raffle tickets online. You go on their website, put however many raffle tickets you want to put on each game, depending on how many you bought, and they draw one of those tickets and you win the game.
I saw there were some pretty nice games in that raffle as well.
Oh yeah, there were some really nice games in that raffle. And 100% of the proceeds from the raffle, the play to win thing is free. You just go put your name on a list.
Sobo
raffle
did that. Southern
Yeah, we
Board
did-
Game
We
Fest.
did that in Louisiana
I
last year.
think I won a game.
I think
Dan
everybody
won a
but me
game.
won one. Yeah.
Everyone except for Rob won a game. But you
Yeah.
just if you played the game, put your name on the list that you played it, and then they raffled it off at the end of the weekend.
Yep, they draw a name from they drew numbers, and whatever name was beside that number won the game for that list.
Sure.
And 100% of the raffle went to a charity called Maddie's Heroes, which is a charity for cancer awareness, childhood cancer,
yeah.
awareness and research. Yeah. So we had an amazing time. Played a bunch of board games.
Zeno remembers
You know,
the Sweat
what else
for
would you ask
Fett
for?
in Roswell, Georgia.
That's the one I was talking about.
I
y'all.
remember that.
I wasn't there, but y'all told the stories
We
for
had
years.
64 X-Wing gamers, and the AC went out at the the game store. They had the door open. I was lucky enough to lose a lot of my matches, so we ended up having to play outside
Got out early.
because there wasn't room in the place for all 64 gamers.
Only winners get to stay inside and sweat.
Yes. And at that year, the card that was given out as the regionals prize was Boba Fett. It was like an upgraded Boba Fett card.
Sweat for Fett.
So it got named the Sweat for Fett. That was what that ended up being called.
Nice.
Oh, what a throwback.
What else was good about the
That's awesome.
the con?
Oh well, they had a decent library. It wasn't like expensive like a Dice Tower. It was a small but good library full of key games. I think Wayne, you mentioned you watched our recap video of that one. Keena and I never once took a game out of the library. It was a matter of our friends brought a bunch of games. I got to play Foundations of Rome 2 more times. And a lot of other great games. I got to play Lost Ruins of Arnak, which is my first time playing.
Okay.
Tina played it twice that weekend.
Oh, she liked it.
Good game.
Yeah, I got off work Friday and walked into the game hall, and she's sitting there looking all guilty playing it for the first time. And I'm like, how dare you?
It's no Dune, but it's good. Yeah.
Oh, he likes
It's
to
no
start
Dune, but
stuff.
it's good. No, I really enjoyed Lost Ruins. I see why it was the game of the con for Escape Winter that not last year, but the year before, I think.
Yeah.
Or the first Escape Winter was.
Yeah, and somebody was giving us a hard time that we still got to play the expansion correctly. I
Correctly.
forget who that was. So yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, everybody.
Oh, we
Yeah.
played with the expansion, the Leaders expansion.
Yes.
It was
Okay.
really good. I really enjoyed that expansion.
Which character did you use?
Oh, which one did I use? It was it's a female character. Trying to remember.
What was your
her
special ability? Do you
was.
remember?
That I knew that was going to be what you were asking.
It's okay. You don't.
And off the top of my head, I can't remember. There were so many things going on with the game, and it was the first time I ever played it, and I haven't played the game without the characters.
Okay, so you don't know
So
the difference.
For me,
Right.
I haven't figured out the difference between what is the characters and what is the rest of the game.
Right.
I'm sure as soon as I get off the phone with you, I'm going to oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what my character could do.
Yeah, the expansion characters ratchet everything up a notch. It definitely adds a little layer of extra complexity, asymmetry. Because without that, you're all starting the same. You start with no powers, no abilities, just your.
Oh, hers. She was the snack one.
the
uh,
Scooby snacks.
dropping the snacks.
She only
everywhere.
got one worker, but she got to have snacks that would give her the ability to move from one place to another or use special action on cards.
There you go.
Yeah, I
by
think my
dropping
wife and I
snacks on them.
nicknamed that one the Scooby snacks. Like you're just dropping little Scooby
The
snacks to
Scooby
get
snack,
stuff
yeah.
done.
Snacks.
Snacks are good. Yeah, I know y'all talked about snacks being a good part of this con.
Yeah, they had candy bars and they had potato chips and sodas and Monster Energy drink sponsored the convention, so they
I'm sorry,
dropped off
what?
cases of
Oh yeah,
What?
all the monster
Yeah,
you can
they had-
drink.
yeah.
I've
Rain, it
never
was their
heard of
rain,
that.
Their new rain.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was great.
new product, huh?
Like I know Monster
They even
will
brought out,
sponsor
like-
like NASCAR and some like extreme
do a lot of-
sports
They
stuff.
do a lot of esports stuff too, though.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
so that's where the crossover is
Gaming.
coming in.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm down.
Yeah, they had sponsors. All the board games provided to the raffle were from different sponsors, and on the label for each game, it tells people what code you could put in for that game during the raffle. It also tells you what sponsor gave the game for the raffle. Some of them were given by Come On, some were given by game stores, some were given by others. But yeah,
Nice. And you said there were some
It's really
party game areas out, like in the main hall. They had some big tables set up, a little blood on the clock tower going on.
Yep, they even reserved a couple of cases of energy drinks for the players playing late night deduction games, such as Werewolf, and the big one was Blood on the Clock Tower this year. That was the big one. They had a couple games of that going that were you could sign up on the convention website for like different events, like the tournaments. You signed up for the tournaments. You could sign up for the Dungeons and Dragons. You could sign up for Pathfinder, and they had the Blood on the Clock Tower stuff, and they had a miniatures painting thing. They had a bunch of different events going on during the day, Friday, Saturday, and they provided. Last year when we did the 2 Rooms and a Boom, they brought out cases of energy drinks just for us playing 2 Rooms and a Boom. They had a cooler there.
Nice.
So when you're playing, you just go chug yourself a monster and go out, take one back to the room with you.
That's crazy.
It was good.
Now, how many people were there? How big a con was it?
How many people? I know that they sold out.
Well, you've been to Escape Winter with us. We've
I think
seen
it was
you.
at least 100.
Okay.
Way more than 100.
Chiming in back there.
Tina's like, "How dare you?"
Yeah.
I know last year I'll go with this. Last year they raised $4,000 for the charity. This year they raised $5,000.
Okay.
So, you know, they've
All right,
had
so we
they
don't
had a
know
pretty
how
good
many there
increase in
were. We
attendance.
just know it was a 20%
I didn't know I was
increase.
counting.
I know Keita said it was 300 or 400, but I always like to get an idea if I'm going to go to a con, what kind of con it is, and you can gauge some of that by the number of attendees, how many tickets they're selling, stuff like that. But I mean, as long as you're playing games and having fun, and like you say, it sounds like they're doing a lot of things right. If they're doing tournaments, they're doing playing wins and all that kind of stuff. Sounds like it's a good time.
I really think it should be on you guys' radar for next year.
Yeah, I mean it's Jacksonville,
I
so it's
think you
just
guys would
I've never been to
thoroughly
Jacksonville.
enjoy it.
4 hours away. Yeah,
Yeah, 4 or 5.
I've been through there. I've never stopped, but my wife and kids go up. My wife and my daughter go every year for the PTA. They go up there and campaign and stuff. So,
But William, that's real tight up against Dragon Con, right? And that's your stomping
Yeah, I'll
grounds,
be
right?
at Dragon Con. Yeah, it's pretty tight against Dragon Con. Especially, machine gunning them out. We did Dice Tower, then we did Sarasota Con for a day there, and then this one, and we have this weekend off, and then next weekend's Dragon Con. So yeah, kind of machine gunning convention.
well, it's that
like
time of
crazy.
year. This is convention season for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just wondering when convention season actually ends.
There's like a month, that you don't have to go.
Essen's the last big one, and then you go to what, PAX or in December.
yeah,
So,
November, December is PAX East,
Kind of
right?
wraps it up. Yeah.
That's usually the last one of the year.
Kind of, yeah.
Then we hit the holiday break. But I will live
We'll try to get it.
vicariously through you. You keep hitting all those cons and telling us about them.
We will. We'll keep you posted. Videos on the YouTube.
Yeah, I was watching them.
YouTube.
Check them out, folks, on YouTube under Nerdy,
Nerdy
Weds.
The Nerdy
Rob was
Weds.
watching. I was watching.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even know until we talked today.
Yeah,
Like,
I've watched several episodes lately. Yeah.
Nice. Well, appreciate you guys' support.
Yeah.
Love seeing you guys every Thursday night. I've missed the last couple of weeks. I was on a cruise in Greece for one of them.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's priorities.
Did you play
right?
Santorini while you were there?
They did.
That's
we
in Greece,
played
right?
They did.
Santorini in Santorini.
See?
Yes, we
My
even did
man.
some video of it. We
I
haven't,
saw it.
Yeah, I
we
saw
haven't
that.
edited it yet and put it up on the YouTubes, but we have some bunch of video from that cruise coming up.
Yeah, I think there was
I
a
love
picture or
that.
something you posted that I saw. Yeah.
Achievement.
Yep.
Achievement.
3 or 4 cons and
People
a
watch.
cruise to the Greek Isles in the last 2 months. That's got to be a rough life right
That
there.
can't be bad. Yeah.
Oh, it's just terrible.
One of these
It's
days.
absolutely terrible.
One of these
Terrible.
days. Yeah. Nice.
Good chatting with you, William. Thanks for your call, man.
Thanks for calling in.
You guys have a good one.
You too. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Well, speaking of cons,
So I think I fixed the phone issue.
oh, you fixed the phone. Okay. Yeah.
Let's just clear that up.
Yeah.
I could not figure out why it wasn't answering on my normal phone.
Yeah.
But I got it. I had to switch it to a different phone, so it sounds like it works. So you folks that have been trying to call in, it's back up and going. 813-618-7099 is the number. Call in. Say hi.
I was just gonna say, speaking of cons, there is some discussion. We're still in discussion phase about us possibly attending maybe a day of Huracan.
Oh yeah, we got to get back with Dominic.
Yeah, Dominic.
I need to reply because work has been rough.
Yeah.
I need to reply back to him to let him know we're in.
Okay.
We're interested.
Yep.
And that we'd like to visit.
Yeah, we got to pick a day. I know my wife said we got something we have to do one of the days, but we can do it either Saturday or Sunday that week. But I can do the other day if you're good for it. But so
Let me nail down the schedule for the day as well.
Yep. Okay. Wargaming convention. I don't know anything about much about wargaming. I played some of the stuff that Carlos has dabbled me into here and there. So, but I'm looking to go see what a wargaming convention looks like live and in person. Carlos said it's a bunch of old white guys, so I should fit right in. I should be perfect. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Rob will get lost.
Yeah.
Like,
Lost
Rob,
in the
where'd you
sea.
go? Where'd
Just
you go,
blend in,
Rob?
just
I
blend in the
can't find you.
background. Funny. So, but anyway. So Ron's probably going to call any minute. So as soon as I start the next thing, but just and we got another call. He's going to screen it there. But Pioneer Days, just to kind of wrap up on that, I enjoyed that quite a bit.
It was really good. It was
yeah.
super punishing. I think the one complaint is you could say is it's a game where you're going to spend as much time defending what you have so you don't lose it.
Yep.
Next to building more, and so that it can be a little bit of a Debbie Downer if you're not defending. So you have to really balance growth versus protection on that stuff. So it'll be
Yep.
it's a tight game, fun game. I like the artwork. It has the worst score track of any game I've played in a long time.
It was confusing, but yeah,
confusing.
yeah.
But it was
Absolutely.
definitely a good game that I would play again. But I would say, like, if you don't like games that are super punishing or where you have to sort of protect what you build before you build more, then that might turn you off.
Yep, for sure. But it was fun. I enjoyed it.
On the line, we've got Ness from Syracuse, New York. Hello, Ness.
Hey, Ness, been a little while.
Hi, yeah, it's been a while.
How are you?
I'm pretty good today.
Good.
Glad to hear it. You are the host of the show for the next 10 minutes. It is your show. Congratulations. What you got going
on?
What's going on?
What's going on? Well, tomorrow, normally we'd be doing a tabletop role play thing, but we're going to do board games instead because we'll be missing a person. I want to know what I should play.
Oh, wow.
Okay, how many people you got? I love these questions.
I'm trying to remember who's not coming. I think it's going to be at least 4 or 5.
Okay,
Probably just 4 or 5.
Oh, 4 is good. 5 is hard.
5 gets a little tougher.
5 is when
Good
things get
number.
hard.
There's 5 is still okay. 5, there's games you can play at 5. I mean, Ethnos and some of that good stuff. But
What time are you starting? What time are you ending?
Oh, man. Usually we start around 6 and we end around 10:30.
okay.
But the only issue is we stop in the middle for dinner.
That's not an issue with me. Like, I'm all about that.
Carlos likes food. Yeah.
I'm all about the, hey, let's go get some Taco Bell,
Yeah.
go eat there, and come back.
Oh, yeah. No, we get delivery, thankfully.
Okay. That's not so bad.
All right,
Usually
best of both
sushi.
worlds. Yeah. All right, and I asked about like what time you start and end because it matters too. Like time of day matters.
Sure,
You
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go around the horn. Any thoughts, Wayne? 4 to 5 players in the evening, about 5 hours ish, but allow for a meal.
From well, I think then you got to look at like one or two, like 2 midweight games, one before, one after, or you could
Smart.
do a couple of quick party games before, or do one midweight game and then do a couple lighter games after dinner. No one's going to want to be super thinky with weight of food and on them and stuff. So, I mean, there's a ton of games out there. I mean, I guess the question would be like, what do you have?
The library.
A library? What kind of, if Lords of Water? You said role playing session, so maybe D&D. So do you have Lords of Waterdeep?
Good call.
That would be a great.
Oh, we don't. It's not actually D&D. It's called Asunder.
Asunder. Okay. All right. All right.
So you got role
Yeah,
players, but
we
no Lords of
do-
Waterdeep.
We do have role player.
No, that's a good one.
Okay. That's a good game.
That's 4 though, right?
It is max of 4, yes.
I have the expansions. I think it goes up
there
to
you go.
5.
I think it does. I think the
I don't
expansion adds a
remember.
5th, possibly. I can look at
You got an
real
answer
quick.
to every one of my answers.
Yeah.
There you go.
Every one of your options. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough without knowing the library, knowing what there's access
Yeah,
to.
I mean, I've got a little over 100.
Okay.
so,
Oh, that's
Okay.
nice.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm missing some of the staples, but I've got various things. I was thinking maybe vinyl because we've got a guy who's big into records.
Okay.
My partner's pointing at me and saying yes.
Okay. Vinyl's
There you
good. I haven't ever played that, but I know of it.
I don't even know of it.
You never heard of vinyl?
No.
Yeah.
What is vinyl?
I can't recall off the top. It's record.
Ness, what's vinyl?
So we played it just once at the retreat last year. It's a not quite worker placement, but you place your character down and you're doing in different locations and you're doing like set collection with records.
Okay.
It's pretty fun.
Okay.
The only thing I think
I was thinking that's an option.
I would say that without us knowing the whole collection, what I might recommend though is and this happens like when I have game days, is if you open up the full game collection and everyone, then you can have 5 people looking at 100 different games. I think you just want to pick out
Mhm.
4 or
Yeah.
5 games max and say these are the games we're choosing from.
Yeah.
You
That's
try
a
to
good idea.
get a little bit of diversity in those 5 picks, but limit it down from the 100 to the 5. Say, hey, these are games that I really want to play, and I
Oh,
think
yeah.
they'll have something for you all, in it. And this is a lighter. These 2 are lighter. These 2 a little midweight. Let's pick 2 or 3 and rock them out instead of because you
That's
can
a
sit
good
there for
idea.
45
Maybe,
minutes. Look, yeah.
Yeah, because we're that way with both our games and our food. We'll have like the 5 people sitting around a table. It's like, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want for dinner? And eventually someone will just say the name of the local sushi place and will be like, yeah, sushi.
Yep.
And you wonder why y'all just didn't start with that to begin with.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
often-
Nobody wants to put out there what they want. So I think it's a good idea too. I think you guys are right. Get like 5, maybe 5 games, like a couple lightweight, a couple medium weight, maybe like 1 heavy Euro, and then take from that.
Yeah, that's good. That's what we did. Actually, we were talking about our game day this last weekend at Wayne's house. We preset it. So I don't know if we told that whole story, but we kind of decided what kind of game we wanted to play. We set a limit of 8 hours. We had a start time and an end time. We wanted to see how many games of between 30 and maybe 90 minutes that we could get in. And so everybody kind of posted a list of about 10 games that they owned that was in that category. And then we picked out I think we probably picked out pretty much all 6 of the games we were going to play ahead of time, and we came in and we just knew, all right, this person owns this one, they're going to teach it, they're going to teach that one, that one, that one. We just kind of pounded them out, and we got a lot of games in.
And I think I got that sort of
I
that
think-
mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Nick a couple months back, or maybe 6 months ago, made a comment about, you got a game day, and people spend 45 minutes figuring out, well, who's going to play this game, who's going to play what game, or what game we're going to play, and you end up spending in a 4 or 5 hour game day, you spend an hour and a half trying to figure out what games. So it's like, just set up a game and play. Don't just go, because you waste more time talking about what game to play than just because it's never going to be the perfect game. Just it's a game. Just get down and play it.
Let's go to the chat real quick.
Right, we got a lot of them in the chat.
A lot of comments in the chat about people's recommendations of what to play. Raw's a good one.
BJ from Borg and Gumbo says Raw.
I don't have Raw.
No, Raw's
that
good.
would be a good one, but I don't own it.
James Odak, Jim says Mosaic,
Of course.
Ankh, or the Great Wall.
You get one of those,
I
don't
don't
I?
have any of those.
I think he's got a macro.
Well,
for
one of
that.
those would be the whole night. So.
He just pushes a macro and it just
And it
spits
hits-
that out into a
no
comment.
matter what the question is, that's the answer.
This is the answer.
Yeah, no, I was thinking for a heavier game, maybe I could throw out Twilight Inscription.
Okay, I have not played that yet.
That's
Mitch can't stop talking
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
high on my list. Yeah.
I've enjoyed it, but I've only played it with one other person. So we've done it just as a 2-player game, and we enjoyed it a lot. And I don't think it's too hard to learn if you can kind of break things down.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Sorry, my partner's asking me which one it is, so I'm just going to pull it out for him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I've heard about that the best way to teach that one is one page at a time, because I guess there's 4 different pages of 4 different sheets of stuff you can
Yeah.
do. So yeah, I've heard that that method for teaching it.
And I thought Hadrian's Wall with 2 sheets was rough.
Oh well, Hadrian's Wall's got a lot going on, but even on 2 sheets. So I was gonna say,
I wish I had Hadrian's Wall. It's on my list to pick up.
okay, that's
But
a good
from
one.
my understanding, Twilight Inscription, based on what Mitchell is telling us, takes over, for him at least, over Hadrian's Wall.
It's simpler. It's not as much.
Really?
Yeah, not as much going on, but I don't know. I still like some Hadrian's Wall, but I got to try Twilight Inscription. Maybe
For
I'll like.
me, it takes over Twilight Imperium because it takes the feeling of the big space epic, but it breaks it down into a very sort of manageable number of hours.
That's exactly what I was
Like,
getting ready to say. I was
don't-
maybe it'll take the place of Twilight Imperium for me. So yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have quite the same flavor to it, but it takes that. It takes what I liked about Twilight Imperium and it breaks it down into a meaningful number of hours. Like if I'm gonna spend 5 hours playing something, I want it to be like, Warhammer with all the painted minis and stuff. I don't want it to be like I'm sitting at a board game table waiting for the other person to take their turn.
Yeah. There you go.
Listen, Ness is just like, you got my heart there. Like she's, I didn't, she's throwing in Warhammer. She's throwing in some TI4. Like that. Rob's like, But I think I'm leaning more towards Ness's style of
Oh, are
games.
you? Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, so I think what I'll throw out there, like the piece that I got out of your question, Ness, was the idea that it's 4 to 5, and I get it. There are those game days when you're not exactly sure who's going to show up, and that matters when you're in that 4 to 5 number, because 4 to 3, not a big deal. Most 4-player games will play 3 just fine.
Yeah,
but there aren't very many games that play 5 well, and or at all. Right? There's a lot of 4. So you could throw out all these 4-player games on the table, but then that 5th person shows up, And then there's those hard feelings because, like, oh, Rob showed up. Okay, we're at 5. I
Gotta do
got to
something
take these off the
different.
table.
Yeah.
These aren't options. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, screwed everything up. Yeah.
So it's like finding what stack of games could you put on there that would be okay at 4 and 5. The two that I would throw out there would probably be Tapestry or Viticulture. Those play great at 4 and 5. One of my
I
new
do own Viticulture.
because that will play great at 4 or 5.
It's on my shelf of shame.
There you go.
And then for me, my new hotness, my new love, Hadara. If it's an option, if it's available, if you got it, it plays great anywhere between 2 to 5 players.
Let's play 5. Okay.
And then of course Ethnos.
I've heard it's good.
Ethnos 2 to 6 players.
Yep. Those is good.
Those are the kind of games that I would stack up if I knew I was getting somewhere between 3 and 5 people coming. Not exactly sure, because those games, all of them are still options no matter how many people end up showing up.
Yeah, you're right. It's got to be something that plays equally good at 4 and 5. It's just I don't remember if it's the one guy who's not showing up or the couple who's not showing up. So
Now you got to range between 3 and 5.
3 and 5. Yeah.
well, it's still gonna be
Either 4 or
you know,
5. Yeah.
We'll see.
Nice.
Well, best of luck in your game day. Call back and report. Let us know how
Yeah,
it went.
For sure.
All
What you
right.
ended up deciding on.
Yeah.
The folks at home, I'm sure, would love
I'll
to
let
hear
you guys
it.
know. All right, you guys have a great night.
Same to you, Ness.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks for calling. Aaron, get out of here with that garbage. Archeo Society.
Well, I was going to say Ethnos
We
slash
don't,
Archeo
we don't acknowledge
Society.
Archeo Society.
No. Smartphone. There you go. Smartphone Inc. Possibly. Yeah.
Smartphone Inc. Is that 5?
I don't know. You own it. It's
I
right,
have it.
right there. I don't see the player count right there though, but I don't know. Have we played it at 5? I can't remember. I was gonna say, depending on the library. I mean, one that a lot of people have in the library. It might be a little.
Yes,
Is
Smartphone
it
Inc.
5?
at 5.
Okay,
It's a good one.
Could be a little light. Just Ticket to Ride. A lot of people own Ticket to Ride. That's a good
Well,
one.
at
That
5,
might be kind
that's
of.
so tough.
Yes, it might be an icebreaker at the beginning because
Yeah.
it's fairly quick if people know how to play it. But
I mean, Seven Wonders Architects.
there you go. 7 Wonders. Yeah.
Hey, phone line's open. 813-618-7099 is the number. But also don't forget, Can't Stop Board Game Arena.
Oh yeah.
Board Game Arena tourney
Next tournament
coming up. It's going to be
yeah.
Can't Stop, so it should be a quick one.
Right. We've said that for a lot of games, and they tend to last a little while.
It'll last
Yeah.
a while, but yeah, it's available for joining now on our Discord server. Hopefully, we're hoping. I know Getty wants it to be our biggest tournament yet, so
Right.
there's really no reason why everyone in the group can't join this one. It's super easy.
Yeah, so if you're not already in the group, Wayne hooks us up with that. So if you get in our Discord, the Beans and Dice Discord, and you just send a shout out that you'd like to join the BGA Board Game Arena group, so that you can get into our games with our people exclusively, not just in with some random people. Let Wayne know; he'll get you added to the group, and then once we get it in there, people are posting games all the time. We went through a little lull there for a few weeks where we didn't have hardly anything posted, but just recently people have rectified that. I know Sam went in there and added 13 new games today, or actually it was more than 13.
And
Yeah, she's
Daryl added like another 13 or 14 today.
Yeah, so we got a
Yeah,
whole
so-
flood of games in there. I wanted to jump into so many of them. I was restraining myself because I'm spending this weekend actually at Disney, so I know I'm not going to be able to play probably at all Saturday or Sunday, so I didn't want to jump into all these games that were starting up. But if there's still games lingering when I get back, I'm planning on jumping to a bunch of them. So
I'll make a bunch. I was actually about to do a big list today, and then people started doing it. I'm like, oh, okay, I can wait for a while.
that'll hold us for a few days.
I'm back up to my 75 games, so I'm good for a bit.
Nice. I think we got another caller.
Hello, Ron Frazier. Thanks for calling.
Ron, finally made it through.
Yeah.
Enough said. He didn't sound real excited about that.
Yeah, for a vote, I was wondering if is Carlos using his work phone for the caller line?
I tried, brother. I was trying everything. I was like, okay, if I forward it to this number and then like forward it to that number and then like bounce it off this IP address,
Off the
will it
satellite.
come in?
Yeah.
So I ended up with
Yes,
my
technology,
dumb
yeah.
phone. For you folks at home who don't know, my personal phone is a dumb phone. It has no apps, no internet, It's
no,
just
no web
text
web browsing
and phone.
Yep.
So like when I need to disconnect from the world, I'd leave the house. All I got is my
Dumb
dumb
phone.
phone. And guess what? It worked.
Yeah,
All the smart crap.
brick is working.
The brick worked.
What you got going on, Ron?
So I just got home from playing a couple of games. I had the evening open, so I drove up to my not quite so local favorite game store, Meeple Madness. Fantastic store, but it's a 30-minute drive. And I played Horrified for the first time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Which version?
So it had to have been the base version.
The original? Okay. They've had, there was original, then there was American Monsters came out, which was the next one. And now they've just announced the Greek gods, yeah. Or Greek monsters, I guess, not gods. Greek monsters.
Nick's already pre-ordered.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
He has to.
Of course.
all right, so I'm assuming I played the base version because we've had the Creature from the Black Lagoon and the Invisible Man.
That is the American Monsters. That's
I think that's
Monsters.
because the original version has Dracula and
Frankenstein's monster and
werewolf
Swamp
and
Thing.
werewolf,
Thing.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing.
Mhm.
yeah. So you played the second one.
Yeah, you played the
Okay.
second one.
Oh, it's interesting because some of the monster cards had symbols for those other monsters. So like,
Maybe I wonder if you
looks
can
like you mixed
interplay
them.
the two. Can you mix the two?
Yeah, see, I own the second one. I haven't played it yet, and I've played the first one, but I own the second one. I haven't played the second one yet, so I'll have to see. Yeah, maybe there's some throwbacks.
I'm obligated to buy the second one because it's got the chupacabra
Oh,
You
okay.
know.
There you go.
representing Puerto Rico. Wepa!
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I've never played it before, and it's very much a pandemic-like co-op game.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
didn't know that. I had no idea. Like,
it's tight. It can be a little. I've heard people say that it can be a little quarterbacky. If somebody knows what's going on, knows how to play it, they can kind of dictate what other people do. So some people haven't loved it for that reason. But I mean, it's a fun little co-op game for sure.
But that's most co-op games,
well,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, it really depends. Like, yeah, most co-op games are like that. That's true. Like one of my favorites kind of eliminates that issue by having people make, simultaneous turns. So, but it was good. I did notice. Well, the great thing about the game that we're playing is that the guy that taught us the game, he knew the game pretty well, and it was him and his wife and a couple of us other people. The rest of us didn't know, but like there was a lot of discussion back and forth. It was really good. I don't think I've played a game of Pandemic that had as much cross table discussion as we did, and like we lost by. We needed one more action.
Dope.
And that's great because
Yeah.
it's like
It's tight.
yeah, it was really tight.
I played, I think, 2 or 3
right.
times, and every time I played, I think it's come down to just a turn or two. And just real quick, so Chester keeping us on task here, he mentioned the Creature from the Black Lagoon was from the first game. So, like I said, I've only played, I think, 2 or 3 times, and I haven't played with the Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I think I called it the Swamp Thing, but it's the creature from the Black Lagoon.
That's it. So, okay, so
Yeah, I played with that one.
It may have been the first one you played then.
He's cool. Like he goes up the river into the lagoon. Like he'll move real
really?
fast because there's 2
Yep.
spots where he comes in and out of.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
I haven't played that one.
Yeah. And so like we're talking as if everybody understands, knows how the game works. But basically, you have each player is playing a hero, and they have 4 actions for the most part. There's a guy that has 3 actions. There's a guy that has 5 actions. And they could do things like use action, like move. They could trade icons, trade tokens, and you're going to use the tokens to move towards your objective, which is defeating 1 or more monsters for the scenario. And from what I understand, each different monster has a different win scenario.
But not just
So,
scenario,
like,
but
that
also like mechanisms too.
Mechanism, yeah.
Like not just like scenarios, but like the way you do it is so different with each one. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. It's really great. I didn't give this game a time of day because of the theme. Like I'm not a big classic monsters
I'm not a horror guy at all. Like, I don't do horror movies. I'm not into that world that goes to the cons, for the horror stuff. So I'm with you. I didn't give it the time of day until it was like Halloween of last year.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Oh yeah, that'd be a great game to play on Halloween. So yeah, it was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. So that was one thing I wanted to talk about. Another thing is that, like, Carlos, I hear you with the CGM and all that kind of stuff, and like I've had one for a little while, and they do make a difference.
The glucose monitor conversation I had earlier.
Yeah.
My in-game scoring life mechanism.
Yeah. Real time.
Yeah. So I have one, and I'm an engineer, so like I have my phone. My phone is my receiver basically, and you use an app and everything like that.
Well, I have a dumb phone, so I had to get a receiver, an actual receiver, a separate device to measure it.
Yeah. You could also see your trends, like not just your day-to-day trends. If you go on a website, you log into the XCOM Clarity website, you can see your 2-week trends and like a number that approximates what your A1C would be. So like you could really get down in the weeds and analyzing the data and all that kind of stuff if you wanted to. You don't sound like you're necessarily that type of person, but like it sounds like you want the immediate information helps you make decisions. Whereas I like looking at that, but also like looking at the trends too.
You're right. That you kind of know me. Like, I live in the tactical. I live in today, and I try not to worry too much about the past or what I've done in the past, and how that impacts my future. So, but the idea that I don't know if that analogy worked for you. The idea that I'm in-game scoring. I'm scoring while the game is happening changes what I do. I'm seeing that in real life.
Yeah.
I would normally be on my second beer right now, but looking at those numbers, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wait a little bit.
Yeah, I was with you with your analogy. I felt like it was pretty good. One more quick thing, like the Chris and Wendy Yee did a video talking about all these Phil Walker Harding games.
Praise be.
Praise be.
Praise be. That he designed up to 2020, and they're gonna be doing a second video with his more recent games because apparently he went full time in around 2020, and so like he's increased his output. Yeah. So the thing about Phil Walker Harding and Prospero Hall and like the team that made Point Salad and Point City, like I see those names. I see those either that singular designer or the team of designers on all these different games, and they all in their games tend to be in a certain level of complexity and whatever and like that. And that's something I really enjoy about the hobby is that like I can look at a game, a box, provided it's not like a mass market game where big companies are going to put designers' names on boxes. But I can look at a box and see a designer's name, and I already have a general idea of how the game might feel. Not necessarily how it might work, but just how the vibe of the game that I'm going to get. And I really appreciate that because it really helps me make decisions on what to buy or even what to try. And Phil Walker Harding, he's one of those people.
Yeah, Carlos gets all excited. He's Pal Mori, and he gets all excited. And,
Yeah. So,
I think
excited about the third.
I think people like Phil Walker Harding have a certain like weight to his games. You're not going to get a hegemony from Phil Walker Harding. So if you see that name, it's going to be light to midweight at max. It's going to be quick playing, quick teaching. Type thing. Stefan Feld, you're going to get. You're going to get 1 million point tracks and scores and point salad type stuff. So yeah, it's pretty impressive list though. I mean, man, he's turning into a modern Veld with the amount of games he's pumping out.
Yeah, recently. I guess he was at Gen Con walking around. From what I understand, a bunch of people got to meet him at Gen Con. Said he was a really cool guy. So I saw him in the Dice Tower video there.
Yeah, he's not like, because he's not like an Eric Lang, right? Like Eric Lang is, at least he was, at some level, like a rock star in this industry.
I have his autograph.
Yep. I've got a few.
And it's a lot of flair in his autograph.
Yep.
Pretty cool autograph.
Yeah, and I mean, Jamie Stegmaier, a lot of that is him building himself up, marketing and everything like that. But then that level below, I think, which is still good, is like Phil Walker Harding. There's a greater chance, I think, of people not realizing Phil Walker Harding designed the game. But if Eric Lang designed the game, you're going to know that Eric Lang designed that game.
Yeah, he's got a feel to it.
Yeah, and so it was just an observation I made watching that video earlier this week.
Excellent.
Yeah. Very cool.
Well, my man, Ron Frazier from Hot Atlanta, coming in with hot topics.
Well, thank you. I wanted to take an opportunity once again to plug my stuff because I'm horrible at doing this.
Go ahead.
So I have a YouTube channel. You can look for Ron Talk Tabletop. I cover mostly RPGs there, mostly board games on Instagram, which Ron Talk Tabletop, and a Facebook page. And every now and then you'll see me on the Dice Tower Board Game Breakfast pitching affordable board games, which are board games with an MSRP of $30 or less. And every now and then you'll see me on Favorite Game Friday as well.
All over the place. Ron Frazier.
Is Horrified? I don't think Horrified's under 30. On sale, though, at Target, I think you can definitely get it. And that's why I bought it, because it was on sale.
Yeah.
I think you can definitely get it for under 30.
Oh, for sure, on sale. Yeah. It's not much over 30.
Yeah. I'll definitely be covering it on my Instagram page. Yeah, if I could finagle a way to
make it work.
Say that this game is the last. I would
Listen, with inflation, I think it's okay to go a little bit higher on that limit.
Increase maybe 35, 40.
It's funny. I was actually thinking about raising that cap to 35.
Right, because I dropped the wife off at what I thought was the Dollar Tree. Apparently now it's the $1.25 tree.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
So I think you can increase your threshold as well based on the economic impact.
Horrified at Target, $29.99 right now.
Oh, screenshot that you're
Send
on.
it to Ron. Yeah.
We'll look for it on your next show.
I'm on it.
There you go. It fits right in there. Thanks, Ron.
Good night, Ron.
All right, guys. Yeah, take care.
Bye. Phone lines open, 813-618-7099 is the number. We're talking board games. Ron Frazier was talking about Phil Walker Harding, what he watched with Wendy Yee and Chris Yee, talking about a lot of Phil Walker Harding games. And I think one of the things that stood out to me was the idea, the focus on a lot of midweight games. Because he talked about Ravensburger, right? The teams that create games from there and that level of weight of game. And that kind of brought back some thoughts on folks' reviews of Gen Con. Like Meeple Mountain was talking about that too, that a lot of the games that were out there were really midweight. Like there weren't a lot of conversations about very heavy games or very light games, but like a lot of the newer games that are coming out are that midweight level, which I think fits more in the cross section of the mass market.
Sure.
Right. Like I can see why Phil Walker Harding at this time would be going in full time, right? Because this is not like the year. This is not the time for like super heavy games. I think that's going to dwindle away.
Yeah,
like all the giant Kickstarters with the epic games.
It'll reduce. I don't know if it's going to go away.
Okay, I won't say dwindle away.
Yeah,
I guess
but,
let's use other words.
It'll lighten up. It'll reduce. It'll get more manageable.
I know in my life, I'm not looking for the heavy game anymore. I'm looking for the 1 hour, 1.5 hour experience.
Can't wait to get to Oathsworn. Oh,
Dan gives me a shout out for the shirt. Says nice shirt.
I don't know if we put it up earlier. Also, Dan called out he's going to be putting together in our Discord group Thunder Alley. I don't know if he's looking at weekly or whatever, but we're going to play that on Tabletop Simulator. I think
That's the only place we could play it.
which we've done it in the past.
Yeah, we've done a season on there before.
So he's going to look at running a season. So he was looking for people who are interested. I think we've already got 4 or 5 maybe people who are interested in that. Maybe 6 or 7.
Dan's talking about the shirt meaning Big Dan Energy.
Was that what it is? Yeah.
He likes that.
Yeah.
It's Beans and Dice Energy, but it's okay. Big Dan Energy, that works too. So get with Dan on the Thunder Alley online.
Yep, that's in our Discord. So if you're interested in that, get in the Discord, and we're going to probably set up a channel for that. So awesome. I had to pull out the SpaghettiOs can here. You were talking about Eric Lang's signature. One of the things that hit me, what we had just right up here, was we had him sign the SpaghettiOs. I don't know if we probably can't get a real tight shot of that, but him and his art and all that funny stuff that he likes to do.
He kind of took over this whole side of the can. He put devil horns on the meatball, or Viking horns, and his little signature goatee on the meatball. He then did that as well to the O in the SpaghettiOs, and then autographed it down there. And then he also autographed my copy of, which we need to get played, because apparently Dan has never played, Blood Rage.
Blood Rage. That was one of the games we were going to pregame. Somebody went in on that. I can't remember.
Was that Nick?
That was Jim. Jim Odak said I think
Dan never played it.
Somebody said they never played it in person.
But we got to play it.
Okay,
we got to get that played. But he signed my copy and also graffitied my rule book with his Sharpie. So he is very eccentric.
Drawing and playing and doing things.
Or as Ron called him, a rock star.
What did he say? Rock star.
Is that what he said?
Rock stars are eccentric, right? Yeah, they do things. Yeah.
But that reminds me of the video from some con a couple months back where there were people learning Ankh or one of the Eric Lang games, and they were like talking about the game, and Eric Lang is playing at the table next to him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he was like just not paying attention. They're like, man, I don't understand this rule or whatever. And he turns around and it's like, it's this.
Hey, this guy right there could probably answer that for you. We did that with, what were we playing? We were playing something in Mahir. Was it Mahir? Was around. We're like, hey, let's just go ask Mahir. He's right over here. So just grab it right from the designer right there. So, yeah. Cool. Well, if we don't have anything else, I'm going to keep hitting this list here because we got 3 more to go through. We hit our first 3. So we talked about Snowtails, we talked about Xi'an, and Pioneer Days. Next one we played was Las Vegas Royale. I can't remember who brought that. Was that Sam? I think that was Sam.
Yeah.
Dan, we'll fix that. He says yes. He's never played Blood Rage. All right. So when you get back from Washington.
Okay.
On your next Thursday at the house, we'll make that the game we play.
William from the
Because
Nerdy
I
Ways.
need to get that game on my top 20 board before the year's out.
William from the Nerdy Ways never played either. So
he's got Kina.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
They can figure
you
that
can
out.
figure that out.
Okay.
I
So
kid.
That was probably Dan. It was probably Dan then that said he wanted to get over here for a pre-show Blood Rage. So excellent. Las Vegas Royale. Great game. This Dice Chucker, actually, it's probably your turn to explain one. Wayne, if you want to jump in on that one. Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, so there's 6 areas of the casino. 3 of them have like additional rules, and there's money in each of the 6 spots. There's 80,000 and 60,000, and if you have majority of your dice in that area, you win the number 1 place. And basically, on your turn, you're throwing all your dice in the middle tray, and then you're assigning them, based on the number that rolled in one of those 6 spots. If it's in one of the first. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying you're picking one number. So, if you
one
you
number,
roll,
yeah. So
you roll a bunch of 3s, and you can take all your 3s and place them. But go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I was pulling it up. Las Vegas Royale is, and so if you hit one of those first 3 areas, there's additional things, and every round it's going to change. And one of them could be, it lets you move dice around, or it lets you push your luck in trying to win, or get you extra dice to play with. And so it's interesting, and basically it's just you play, is it 3 or 4 rounds of the game, and the round is basically everyone has used all their dice. So there's some strategy there as far as you don't want to put a bunch of dice on one spot on the first roll. You want to try to save your dice and let them trickle out during the course of the round. And it's basically whoever has the most money wins. So you're kind of collecting money as you go. I don't know if you want to add to that.
There were some
bit
modules. I was actually pulling this up while you were talking, so I didn't hear everything you said, but I was hearing but not listening. But again, there were some modules, I guess, that are optional. You can just play with just each of the 6 zones as numbered 1 through 6. We played with the option of plugging in these additional abilities. So you play, I guess, typically with 3 of them. This is the first time we'd ever played, I think, all of us except for Sam. but she mentioned there was a 6 where you could put all 6 of them out, which is what this picture shows here. But we played with 3 of them. So the 1, 2, and 3 spot had each of the 3 rounds of the game. We put out 3 new ones. Here it is in this picture. We see it just halfway around. But if you placed in the 1, 2, or 3, you got some kind of bonus action that you got to do by placing in that area. Sometimes it would allow you to manipulate other people's dice. There was one that allowed you to force people to commit a die to an area that they may not have wanted committed to. You could go to a place to recover that. There were some that allowed you to manipulate, change one of your die faces and put it out in a different area. So all these neat little abilities. There was this lucky punch one that allowed you to take, there were 3 little hexagonal chips there, and you grabbed them and you put them in your hand and you put them under the table, and then you chose either 1, 2, or 3. You'd put it back in your hand and bring it back up, and then the person to your left would have to guess whether you had 1, 2, or 3 in your hand. If they guessed correctly and they matched the number that you had, you got nothing. But if you took 1, they got better as you went. So if you took 1, you got 2 chips that allowed you to do a reroll. If they took 2, if you had 2 in your hand, you got just a $30,000 card worth $30,000 per points at the end. And if you had all 3, it was a $40,000 card. So there's this whole little trying to outguess your opponent there. Did I take the 2? Did I really go for it all and take the 3? Did I just go low so that they wouldn't guess it and take the 1? So there's all these little modules they put in that kind of mixed it up, and I enjoyed this one a lot. This is a game that I had wanted to play for a while. This was another one of those that as soon as it came up on Sam's list, I was like, Las Vegas Royale, that's one I'd love somebody to teach. And this was, I say, a great filler game. I mean, this was, I don't remember how long this took us, Wayne. It couldn't have been much more than 30, 45 minutes at the most.
Yeah, probably 45 minutes. And it was good. It's it's push your luck. It's kind of simulating the casino, lifestyle. And a lot of those little modulars kind of had like those push your luck or kind of anything. And you had this one in your dice pool, you have 1 big die that counts as 2. And it was a good, give or take. And it has that ability for kind of the stand-up moment. Going down to the end of the game, I needed to roll a 3 to get a ton of money, and if I rolled a 6, it was bad, and I rolled like 3 or 4 6s in a row.
Yeah, it was 5 or 6 were useless to you, and you rolled a 6, and then you used a chip to reroll. You rolled a 5, and then you used it again, and then rolled a 6 again.
Yeah,
and I was of course rooting for the 6 the whole time because that really helped me. So
basically, gave him a huge jump in the game. So it has that like a little cutthroaty play style, but it's kind of, but there is some strategy to it in that you how you place the dice out and what numbers you place, because if you tie, if two people tie for the lead in an area, neither of them get anything, and it goes to the person in third. So, and that's what happened So like
mechanics of this, or I was just saying, there's a picture of it right here. I don't know if you can see it, Wayne, but this one, there's 2 red die in the area. So you place the 2s in the 2 area, and you're just looking at the total number of die that are there. So in this case, there's 2 of them in the red, there's 2 of them in the purple, and the blue only has 1 there. But the red and the purple cancel each other out. So the blue that's there actually gets the top prize.
Yeah,
really, I don't understand why.
Yeah. Thematically, it probably doesn't make any sense, but
but it's part of the strategy of the game, and I think that's what where Rob wanted the 6, because when I put that 6 in there, I ended up tying with Michelle probably, and that gave Rob the win in that area, which was like another 88,000. So there is some strategy in there. If you can manipulate the dice or move dice around and force people to tie, you have 1 die sitting there, and all of a sudden you go from earning nothing to getting the highest point in that area. So it's pretty interesting.
This was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. You got to go into it very light. It's very lucky. It's dice chucking, but you're really, like you say, there were definitely some stand-up moments where it was like you were watching people roll the die. You're like, don't roll that, and especially as they came down to the end. So this one I enjoyed a lot more than I thought I was going to. I knew I was going to like it, but this is one potentially a pickup for me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely like a replacement for like a Yahtzee.
Yeah,
right. Like lightweight dice chucking, just fun game. I'm very interested based on this description.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's definitely the kind of game that non-game you can bring it to Thanksgiving, right? And play with family.
It's almost like Ready, Set, Bet, right? Like there's so many built-in schema that the family members already have about gambling or playing dice games that they'll help them learn this game faster.
Right.
Absolutely.
And how about the componentry? I saw that the money there. Is that card or paper money?
There's like 5 different versions of this game, so it depends on which one you get. There's one that has paper money. There's a fancy one that has poker chips. If I would buy whatever copy's available and just use Iron Clays, in its place. So.
Yeah, because I saw some that looked like cards. And I'm like, oh, I love it when they use cards as money instead of
The version we
paper.
played had cards for money, and it had
Right.
the poker chips. It was the blinged out version that Sam had, so it was nice.
Las Vegas Royale.
Yep. I'm going to pull up the next one here we played, so just knock these last two out here. We played Bunny Kingdom, which is another game. Again, it was high on my recommended list.
Was it?
Yes, it was. It's
it's
another one of
fun.
those that got a great review on Dice Tower years ago. This one, what is the year? This is another 2017. We played a lot of 2017 games. Good year. This one is I don't know how to describe Bunny Kingdom. It reminds me a little bit of what's the one that all the blinged out one with the big buildings that you're putting out on the grid?
Rome.
Foundations Rome. Yeah.
So here we go. Bunny Kingdom. It says adorable bunnies build cities, harvest carrots, and go on missions to the big ears. Or to be big ears.
Oh, say to the big ears. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
To be big ears.
Yeah, this is a drafting game, so
Yeah.
you've got all these. I'll pull up some pictures here; it'll help visualize here. So you're drafting cards, which correlate. Most of them correlate to grid coordinates on the main board, and so you've got A through whatever across the top of the board, and then numbers 1 through probably was it 8 or 9 or actually might have been 10.
9, 10, yeah.
Yeah, 9 or 10. So quite a few spots out there. So you're drafting cards, you're passing them around, these different spots on the board. Some of them have resources, some of them don't. But you're trying to put together adjacent groups of bunnies because your scoring is going to happen at the end of each of the drafts. I think there were, I don't know if it varies by the player count, but I think there were 5
Yeah,
or
there's
6
4, I thought.
cards. Yeah, I don't remember how many
There's
cards.
10
but-
cards in a stack and it goes around 5. So yeah, you get
Okay, you're
2
picking-
each time.
Taking 2 each
Yeah.
time and then passing left, right, left, depending on the round number. But you're drafting these spots to basically at the end of the round to be able to place your bunnies out there. You also have these cards that give you these castles, and so these castles have either 1, 2, or 3 spires on them. And the way that you're scoring, you can see the castles here. The way that you score is at the end of each of the rounds, after we've all drafted our cards, we've all placed our bunnies, placed our castles. There's a few other cards that mix things up. But you're going to take your groups of bunnies and you multiply the number of spires in that group of bunnies that are adjacent to each other on the board times the number of unique resources that you've placed on. So there's like fish, there's wood, there's you mentioned carrots. There's a couple of other
There's like
resources.
gems and gold and a couple other things.
Some of these are
specialty ones.
some of them are pre-printed on the board. Some of them you have special cards that you can draft that allow you to take like a wood resource and just place it anywhere. You can only have 1 upgrade per area, so you can't put a castle in an area and a gem on that same exact tile. So you'd have to find another adjacent bunny that doesn't already have an upgrade, and then you can place a resource marker on there to give you a different unique resource. But then by the end of the game, as you can see in some of these pictures, you've used all the cards, and so pretty much every spot on the board is full. So this is one of those that obviously ramps way up. The first round, you're getting like 1, 2, 3 points. By the end of the game, you're counting up your points and you're getting 40 points for all of your stuff. And then there's some other cards and things that mix things up, allow you to do some things that break the rules or allow you to score special things. This one was another one that was I knew it was going to be good, but this one kind of blew me away. I was a lot more impressed.
Yeah.
I think after we were done, we all talked about this is on Board Game Arena right now. We were all talking about we needed to go find a game of this on Board Game Arena because we all were eager to play it again. So
Yeah, this is one that it was on sale like Amazon Prime Day, and it was basically because ILO is kind of out of business as far as doing games with however it was released, so they were kind of dumping their stock, and now I'm mad that I didn't buy it. This is one of those games where I'm like, man, this game's really good. I like it because, like you said, it ramps up and it there's multiple paths to victory, because you can either, as you're collecting the cards, you're creating what they call fiefs or fiefs, whatever.
Yep.
And you could either try to get a huge one, or you get a couple of smaller ones. And there's certain ways you can kind of connect 2 of them by sky bridge. And then there's the card game, where you, instead of taking cards that correlate to spots on the board, you're collecting scoring options where you can rescore your, based on how many carrots you have, or based on how many castles you have. Or I had cards that let me copy cards to my left and right, to score additional things. So there's kind of multiple paths to victory, but it definitely ramps up. You go from, like you said, 1-2 points, and last round we're scoring 70, 60, 70
Carl's got a
points
question. He's
round.
raising his hand.
Yep.
Is it really that small of a board?
No,
Like,
it's
I'm
a pretty
looking at
big
these
board.
pictures.
It's pretty big. It would take up a chunk of this table. Yeah.
Okay, because
It's-
some of these pictures had a very small board.
I'm not sure.
No, I mean it's probably Lords of Waterdeep size ish, give or take, and not necessarily the same dimensions, but it was pretty big.
Okay.
And
I
there
wonder if
are
they had different sizes or different boards that they
maybe
used,
different
'cause in
printings.
some of the demos
Yeah.
that I saw there, some of those boards look real small.
I was scrolling through here. I could go back, I guess, but I was just
Yeah.
trying to see if I could find what you were looking at.
Like
but-
that. That's not that big.
I think the picture's deceiving.
Yeah, maybe those cards. They're standard size cards, I guess, like playing cards. But yeah,
I mean, it's definitely not a mosaic. Like I can't
No,
fit
no, it's
mosaic.
definitely
no, it's
on
definitely
my
smaller.
board here.
Yeah,
No,
definitely
it's
smaller.
definitely
than
smaller
mosaic.
than that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
But there's
Nice
a lot going on that board.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gets filled up pretty quick. Yeah. And I think what it is that, there are you will have like 10 or 15 cards that don't get used.
Yeah.
So there are some spots that may still be open. There may be some cards you don't see. So there's
Yeah.
some variability there, that some unknown. So,
yeah. I think that last round, I think I was looking for an open spot because I had one of the temporary settlements or what they
camps, or
were
the camps.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was trying to find, and I think there were only like 2 or 3 spots on the whole board that were still available. So
Yeah.
yeah. But it's a good
Yeah,
game.
good-
Again, another one that was better than I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
Yep, better than you think it would be. A good production value. Unfortunately, probably gonna. Well, this one is a little bit easier to get than I think the Las Vegas Royale
Probably,
and
yeah.
the other one from TMG, Pioneer Days,
Pioneer
is going to
Days,
be
yeah.
hard to find because TMG is no longer around. So it depends on who has the rights to that game now.
I think we got another caller on the line.
Oh, nice.
Hello, Aaron from Ohio.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
We are well. Glad to hear you calling in. I know I used to say long-time listener, first-time caller, but now you're long-time listener and multiple caller.
Multi-time caller. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just thought I'd call in. Got to play a couple relatively, certainly new to me games, but newer games. So I thought I'd just share quick thoughts on those. I know you guys are finishing up kind of your
Oh no, you're good.
rundown of the big gaming sesh. So
It's your show.
last night I got to play Point City. I'm not sure how many of you
Nice.
have had a chance to play that yet.
No,
that
but
Kickstarter
don't
came in.
rush. Don't rush because that is one that's on my radar. I know Robert
Okay.
and I both
Points
have a
salad.
lot of love for point salad.
Yeah.
It makes like the bag for anytime we're out with the family.
Yeah, quick, easy game to pull.
So take some of this time to talk about Point City versus Point Salad. Give us your opinion.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely got a similar DNA. You could tell, same sort of game as far as drafting the cards, kind of building up kind of that base of resources. I guess in Point Salad, it's kind of the ways in which you score points. Here, it's really resources to build buildings, and so you'll spend. They actually did a really nice job because they tiered the deck. There's 3 different kind of tiers of cards. And so tier 1 cards are going to be a little cheaper to, the flip side of those are the buildings. So they're a little cheaper to build. So it kind of ramps up pretty good. You don't have to, wait too long to start building. But I think the really cool thing is they pulled in kind of that Splendor or even Hadara, that kind of discount mechanic that a lot of the buildings will have once you've built them, that free permanent resource, right?
Yeah.
On them. And
Engine
so
building.
that again allows you. Yeah. So you build up that engine, and some of them are just straight victory points. And so, that's a lot of the game is getting these cards. But if all you're getting is the cards with the resources, or some cards have, small number of victory points on them, probably not maximizing your points, because kind of where it does pull in the elements of kind of the Point Salad is these civics tokens. So some of the buildings, instead of giving you a resource of points, will allow you to take this civics token, which then is going to multiply your score, give you points based on the resources you have at the end of the game. And so, it might be 2 points per, I think it's called economy, but the coins, or, maybe it's 3 points per set of coins and, gears that you have at the end of the game. So, it's interesting. I didn't think when you take the cards, you can't, it's a bigger grid that you're drafting from compared to Point Salad, and you also have to draft orthogonally adjacent cards. So there are definitely moments where your turn isn't as simple as you thought, especially in like a 4-player game where the board is changing quite a bit between turns. So it's a longer game. It's certainly a longer game. And I would say significantly longer might not be the right word, but it's
Ron Frazier
longer
says
than-
Point City is a little more thinky think. I think that's a Ron Frazier term. Thinky
Yeah.
think.
I think that's true. The short review would be I really enjoyed it. I think I'd want to play it a couple more times to say, if I prefer it over Point Salad. And my initial thought is no. I think just how quick Point Salad is, Point Salad will play up to 6. This one plays up to 4. So I think that's worth noting too. And it's just real quick. Point Salad's real quick. Take 2 cards or take a card, a point card off the top of one of the draw piles. I think I appreciate the quickness and how easy that one is to get into. There's just a couple more levers here in this one that are good, but if I'm comparing one versus the other, might be too early to say. But I think Point Salad is just going to be the universally more played game.
I got to try it, but I'm thinking, I would have to agree from what you're saying. This has a bigger footprint, it sounds like. I mean, there's a bigger grid that you're drafting
4x4
cards out
grid.
of, and then you're adding a level of complexity. And I've said this for years on the show and otherwise that with these quick light games, I like them to stay quick and light. And when they start adding a little bit more to it, and trying to make it a little more complex and a little more thinky, there's probably a lot of other games that are then in that realm that I'd rather go play. And the reason I like Point Salad is that it is so quick and easy. You can just throw it in the bag. You take it, it's just a deck of cards, and you don't need a big area. You can just throw out some cards and play it quick and easy and teach just about anybody. I think this gets out of that realm for me, so we'll have to see.
That's Rob. I mean, that's Rob for you. It either has to be very light,
Super light,
or very heavy. Like everything else is in the middle, and it's like lukewarm. It's not hot, it's not cold. It's just kind of spit it out.
I like my quick light games, quick and light. Yeah,
And that seems to be the. I think I know Dice Tower had their review of it this week, and it was Chris and Wendy Yee and Tom, and they sort of had the same comment that it was, Point Salad is so quick and easy to play, but you have but with this, the bigger grid, the having to take cards orthogonally. You could either be a little AP to it, or it's just I really want that one city card, but there's nothing adjacent to it that I can take or use, or that's really beneficial to me. So you're kind of forced into certain moves that you have to just kind of suck it up and take, or I think you can still take one off the top or 2 off the top, kind of blind. I believe that's what they said. So they liked the game, but it was definitely not as well reviewed as Point Salad.
Yeah, and I think that would be the last point I would say on it. You can draw 2 from the top, and when you make the decision to draw from the top, you have to draw 2 from the top. You can't draw 1 from the top and 1 from the grid. But Tom made a comment in the review that I initially was like, it's probably not that big of a deal. But as I was playing, and if we were playing I was playing with my wife and some friends, and they're not. Some of them aren't the biggest gamers, so it's fairly casual. But if you're really kind of competitive and wanting to win, the deck it's a thick deck. So there are a lot of times if you're not keeping that deck tight, you can very easily see the next card on top of the deck and the card after that, which certainly is going to influence your willingness to draw 2 off the deck, especially if the board is not showing you what you want, right? So that was a little bit of a weird. I don't know how you fix that, but
and we kind of lived with that with
dynamic.
Point Salad. We kind of lived with that, like that. It happened. Somebody would move one of the draw piles a little bit and kind of saw what was coming up next. Because the game was light and fast, you moved on. But I could see in this game, the decision points being more critical. That could be key information.
Yeah.
Rob would probably tell me to reshuffle the whole
deck.
deck.
Resources are cut.
no.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. All right. You mentioned there was go ahead.
Yeah, the other game was Everdell Farshore. So I've always been intrigued by Everdell, but never played it. I thought it'd be a game I would enjoy. Never got it to the table. And my friend had picked up Farshore, and we played that, and I absolutely loved it. It clicked for me right away. I mean, it is right in my wheelhouse as far as kind of engine building, card-based board games. And I think they did. I don't know enough about the original since I haven't played it, but I think they did a really good job to kind of streamline things. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot there that shouldn't be there. Things work pretty smoothly. It all makes a lot of sense. And so you're playing out basically critters. They're common critters and unique critters, and then there's common constructions and unique constructions. And all of those exist in these different suits in the game. Some suits kind of appeal to like ongoing benefits that trigger when you switch rounds. Some of them are one-time benefits. Some of them are new actions or worker placement spots for you. Some of them are in-game scoring. So each kind of suit has its kind of flavor for the game. But I think it all works really well together. And then you kind of have these season goals kind of that everyone's trying to shoot for because they allow you to go up on the sail track or whatever that is. You move your ship up to get more victory points, and so it kind of gives you these cool objectives throughout the game to say, I'm going to try and get this played sooner. And then on top of all that, there's the race to kind of collect sets of the different suits. So once you have 3 of these, go up to this worker placement thing and collect a tile. And then you use those as you collect more of those tiles, those multiply together for in-game scoring benefits. It really worked for me.
Yeah, I've heard this is basically Everdell redone again. I've played Everdell a couple times. I haven't played this one yet, but a lot of people are saying, and what you described is basically Everdell almost to a T. So it's basically just the same game, with just a little bit of different theme on it, from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at the weight, and of course, that'll modify as people start putting in some more reviews on Everdell Farshore. Everdell Original has had plenty of time to get itself into that 2.8 range. Everdell Farshore is at the 2.6 range. So it doesn't sound like it's lighter, but you talked about some what felt like streamlining, which is good to hear because I've had Everdell on my shelf and I've never played it. Like I've had it for almost 2 years now, I think, probably more than 2 years on my shelf, and I've never played it. And part of it was Rob's description of the fiddliness of the game has really kept me away from it. But Aaron, your description of Farshore and how streamlined it felt for you makes me say, okay, this might be the copy that I jump into to play with my wife instead of my copy of Everdell that's sitting up here.
Yeah, I would say definitely go for it. I talked to my friend who had played Everdell, said Everdell it goes on a little longer, and there's just some clunkiness with how some things work. Claiming the objectives before, and some of the way like the resources worked, and it was a little more constricting. And they have this hook mechanism, this anchor mechanism, where like you could put an anchor down on a construction in your city, and you can then play a matching suit critter for free. Prior to that, apparently you had cards kind of told you what they would allow you to play for free, so you kind of had to go hunting through the deck and hoping you would find them, and I could see that being frustrating for me. So yeah, I mean, he said it plays a bit quicker, and I think with 2 players, like if you enjoyed this, found like someone to play it with at home, I mean, I think once you played it a couple times, you could play this pretty quickly at 2 players.
I got to say, Aaron, you do a good job of describing games. Like each time you've called, I don't know if you're prepared, if you're prepped, or if this is just a skill that you have. Your description of games makes it easy for me to follow, so I want to thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate that. I probably watch way too many YouTube videos.
That could help. That could help. Yeah.
I think we're probably several of us are guilty of that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you guys go. I know you want to finish up talking about a few things. I will one quick shout out to the Discord. Anyone not listening and not on there, definitely take a look at it. I appreciate a few people kind of let me know or confirm that Castles of Burgundy was on its way. I got a UPS message and wasn't sure what was coming. And
Right.
sure enough, my copy did finally arrive. So I
Nice.
think I'll be getting a 2-player game of that in this week.
And listen, folks, I didn't pay him for that shout out about the Discord. That was
no.
all on his own. We did not prompt that compliment.
Discord is useful. Yeah.
We will accept it.
All right, thanks, guys. You have a good night and rest of the week.
Good
Thanks
night.
for calling, Aaron.
Thanks, Jeff. Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
one.
All right, so now we're going to get to the end of the show. We'll wrap up the show here. Rob, you still have any games left
Got
on
one
that
more.
list?
One more.
Last
So
one.
This is probably the one. I'll try to keep it short, but this is the one I think.
You got 10 minutes.
We had a
You're
little.
good.
We had a little chat amongst ourselves afterwards in the Discord on a little private chat about what what game people liked the most, and I think. I didn't know right away. I posted up. I know each of y'all kind of chimed in with which ones y'all liked, and I kind of said I liked them all, but I need a little time to think on it. And now that it's been almost a week, I think the last one we played, I think is going to end up being my favorite. And this one's a classic. This one, a 2010 release, Fresco. This was really good. I don't know what your thoughts on it, Wayne, but
that cover. He's got to love it.
oh yeah, pretty artsy.
It's
huh?
too colorful.
Sit down, Wayne.
Yeah.
Stay seated.
It's too colorful, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, too much art.
Too
Yeah.
much.
This one stuck with me, and so this one, as I pondered on it, this is the one I think out of the Queen games. This is one of the I think I want to play the most again. This is definitely a Euro-y. You're collecting resources. You've got these screens that you're doing some secret things behind. You're mixing paint colors. So you've got what are the different areas? There's the market where you go to buy these.
Market where you go to buy paint, then
Paint.
where you actually do the painting. Then there's the area where you can get cards or money,
Yep, the
and,
easels and yep.
easels, and then there's the exchanging or mixing paint. where you
Mixing
can-
paints.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can saw you have the grid there of the different colors. So if you don't already know, they give you a nice little player aid that tells you mix this color and this color, it gives you that color. And so the cubes are 3 different sizes, and so you're starting with your primary colors, your smaller cube. Oh yeah, cube. I said cubes. Carlos looked at me.
3 different
Love
sizes
my
of cubes.
3 different sizes.
Yeah.
Of cubes. Oh, so exciting.
It's got small, medium, and large cubes.
Yep, your primary colors that you're going to mix to make the more complex ones, give you the medium-sized cubes, and then if you really want to go for it, you can mix a couple of those larger medium-sized cubes into the big cube. I think it was just one big kind of brown-gray colored cube at the end. But then, depending on how far you want to go with mixing these colors, you end up trading them in for to doing these paintings, painting these different frescoes, I guess. And then you're doing some set collection as you do those. You're taking those frescoes, and if you get 3 of the same type, you trade them in, and you can claim victory points, tokens. A decent amount going in on this one. What was the weight on this one? This was a 2.63, so this is right there in the same weight as a bunch of these other games we've talked about tonight, these kind of midweight games. This one, what do you say this one took us? Probably, with the teach and everything, was an hour and a half, probably. Maybe.
Yeah, a little under that, maybe. I think we finished right around maybe an hour and 20, hour and 15. So you could get it right at an hour with once you know it.
But like viticulture, you're doing your wake up track. That's part of this game. So you're kind of doing you're not bidding for turn order, but you're placing out depending on, I think it was what last place to first place on the score track. Got to choose their wake up order. Your wake up order allowed you to you have 2 kind of resources that you're playing with there. Your happiness. So if you let your people kind of sleep in later, you're going to go last, but you're going to move up on this happiness track. If you hit the top of the happiness track, you get to take an extra worker for that round. So you're kind of managing that. If you go earlier, you're not going to get that extra worker potentially because you're going to fall down on the happiness track, but you're going to have first choice, and you're also going to pay less in the market when you go to get your paints. Like, I guess the idea that you
No,
get
you pay
the first
more.
selection. Is it more early?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So if you go earlier, you're
The benefit of going early in the track is you get to first picks,
right.
but you're going to pay more. But if you go real late, if you wake up the latest, you pay the least.
Yeah.
I think that's how it is because they're trying to dump their paints at the end of the day. But you're getting
the flea
whatever's
market,
left
there you
over.
go. That
You're
makes
getting
sense.
whatever's left over. Yeah, it was a good game. I liked it a lot. It had some. I like the bidding mechanism, sort of like where you're going to wake up and what do you need. It was very interesting that you get your paints and then you paint your fresco.
It's frustrating.
And then at the end of the last action is where you actually get to mix paint. So you have to really plan ahead when you want. Like initially, there's a bunch of pieces in the fresco that just take generic, the basic paints, and that's great. But once those are gone, then you need to have in the mixed paints and the more complex colors, and get into the pinks and the purples and stuff. And getting to that is tricky. And I think that last round, it was rough because there was only a couple of last pieces to paint, and like Michelle needed to be able to mix and then come back around before she could do it. But I had exactly what I needed to do, and I did literally the two things that she was going to paint. And then I was afraid Rob was ahead of me, and I'm like, oh, just don't take those 2 spots. Don't take those 2 spots. Oh, he took 2 other spots. Great. So it was definitely a little
Let
bit
me understand
of,
that. The
cutthroatness.
mixing step. Because
Is
I'm
at
looking
the
at the board
last.
here.
Yep.
So whatever you mix is not available for that round's painting.
Right.
It's available
Correct.
for
You
the
have
next
You
round.
plan ahead for the next round. Yeah.
So you're painting earlier in the round with the stuff you already have, then you're kind of mixing your leftover paints at the end, and then so that kind of plays into your turn order for the next round, because if there's only one tile out there that mixture, those paints that you mixed are going to allow you to get, so there's
You
duplicates
really
of a
wanna
bunch
go
of them out
first.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you really got to go early in the turn order, which means you're going to pay more for everything. You're going to lose happiness because you're getting your people up early to get them out there, but then you're going to get to paint first, so you're going to grab that tile. So there's a lot of little decisions
Yeah.
in this.
Listen,
And
I
there's-
watched a lot of Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Okay, he's mixing on the fly.
Happy
all right?
little- happy
We-
little
Yeah, this is the 1600, 1500s. This is a mix on the fly.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that middle row lets you get some coins or cards, and the cards are random. There's a giant stack of cards, and some of them let you get permanent abilities that let you get like additional coins or additional paints or additional points when you paint, or helps you manipulate that happiness. There's some, like, we know there's this card that lets you move all the way up the happiness track. So if you can tank yourself for around knowing that you're going to, play this card or use a card to get yourself back up. It was an interesting game. It was definitely, your standard, Euro. It had a lot of those elements that you see. So it was good.
Lots of cubes. Love me some cubes. Anyway, but yeah, I think this one was it. For me, this was probably my favorite. If not, I think maybe Shan.
keep ruining it.
Yeah,
Keep,
XI''AN. That one.
Jan.
Jeez, bro.
John, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I like Bunny Kingdom best of the day.
Did you really? Yeah,
Yeah, I
liked
like
it
that one a lot.
Yeah,
I like
That
that
was
one a
good.
lot. I think all four, all the games are really kind of, they hit. I think that's one of the things we said is, like, there wasn't a bad game that day. We all liked them a lot. There wasn't one game that I'm like, I need to go buy that game. I'd say probably Bunny Kingdom.
So you talked about buying Bunny Kingdom as we were done with it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd probably be like the one game where, like, I wish I would buy that, or I wish I would have bought it when it was on sale or something like that. But I wouldn't turn up any of these games at a flea market.
I want to say it was definitely mission accomplished too. That was the other thing that I wanted to kind of come back to, and I talked about it a little bit while we had some of the callers on the phone there. But we came in with a plan. We decided this is what we were going to do. We were going to knock out as many good games as we could in an 8-hour period. We knew we were going to do a little break for lunch or some food in there, and we got 6 games in 8 hours. And so we did exactly what we did. And we kind of talked afterwards that we were looking forward to doing this kind of thing again. And the idea of having a theme, we talked about a little bit about that. The Wesley Chapel board game group recently had a theme day where we played all water-based games, and that really kind of helps set a tone for a lot of this stuff. And so we talked about that either in our Beans and Dice group or in the Wesley Chapel. I know Nick said, I talked to him specifically about it, that he likes that idea of setting a theme, having people bring those types of games. I think that's... I really like that idea. Do racing games. You can do so many different
food-based games or
ideas on that, and get in either light games, heavy games, whatever. So I'm really glad we did it. I appreciate you hosting. Appreciate you. And I owe you some money for some pizza and some beers, but we'll get all that worked out. But it was a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I ended up being kind of equidistant to most of the people. So, I mean, that's what, like, people think, Tampa's a huge area. It could take you an hour to get across Tampa, from north to south or east to west, Hillsborough County. But no, it was a good day. And I like the theme idea because, like, it goes back to that, I've got 500 games on my shelf. If we just say, let's figure out what games to play, we'll be paralyzed with decision. And so I think it's, just pick a game. I do want to, I think between now and the end of the year, I want to do a Battlestar Galactica day where I set it up, because that could be like a 3 or 4 hour game. and I think a lot of people haven't played that, and that'd be a good one to do.
That's a
do that.
fact. A lot of people haven't played that.
Yeah, I
one.
want to play it. Yeah, I've never
Which
done it.
isn't there a new Marvel version? Right,
Well,
'cause I
there's
know they
the
came up
Unfathomable.
with
Or
the
some
Unfathomable,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I think there's a Marvel reskin of it.
coming
I'll,
out. Interesting.
Well, I'll research that.
Yeah, I don't think it's out yet if there is, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but yeah, I like the theme day. Theme days are the way to go.
All right, that's what y'all have been doing gaming wise lately. I have not gamed like that. I know the last big game I got to play was Mosaic with y'all last week, but with a lot of work, the kids in school, a lot of my nerd time has been dedicated to reading, and I'm kind of in the middle of book 3 of the Oathsworn, which is the Brandon Sanderson series. What's the word?
Trilogy? No.
What's that
the
series?
So I don't know. Not the Wheel of Time.
Not the Wheel of Time. It's the. I got my friends in here somewhere. There's the Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, and then there's Stormlight Archives. That's the word I'm
there you
looking
go.
for.
There you go.
I'm in the middle of book 3, but dang, those books are 40 hours long, right?
Like, long. That's a lot.
I need a break.
Yeah.
So I took a break on Oathsworn and picked up a title by Andy Weir, the author of The Martian, which I never read any of his books before, but I did love The Martian, like the film. Matt Damon, The Martian, loved it. In this title, Project Hail Mary, I've caught myself laughing out loud in bed in the dark. It's like, I couldn't go to sleep last night. I got some work emails that got me all hyped up. I couldn't go to sleep last night. It's like midnight, and I'm like chuckling to myself out loud.
Okay.
Like, this is how well he writes. And he writes from that perspective of The Martian, where it's the perspective from the main character, right? Like, you're getting their thoughts. You're getting their brain, you're inside their head and their feelings and what they're thinking. And I'm just chuckling through it. Sanderson likes words, lots of words, says Ron Fraser. Yes, he does. But Andy Weir is a lot more concise in his writing, and it's very, I guess I'll use the word modern, right? Slangish. Like, I understand. Like, when he writes, I feel like he's like, it's like Lauryn Hill. He's strumming my pain with his fingers. Like, he's singing my life. Yeah, Project Hail Mary is great. If you're looking for a title to pick up, it's the idea behind it is Earth's sun is dimming, and we find out why, but we don't know how to stop it. So it's all about figuring out how to prevent Earth's sun from dimming, creating the next, ice age and then death of the planet.
Yeah, and I think I just looked it up. I was right. He's like a scientist. He's a physicist or something.
The author?
Yeah. That's why
he
his
writes
stuff is
like
so
science, bro.
accurate. Yeah. That's why,
writes
like,
science.
The Martian. Because I remember seeing an interview with like Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about how accurate The Martian is, and so Andy Weir is like one of those guys that he has the education background to write legitimate what it would be like for those things. So
cool.
Looks like Sam agrees. She says maybe her favorite book. I'm pleasantly stunned as to how much I cannot put this book down. I picked it up on, I think it was Monday evening, and I'm a slow reader, folks. Like, when I read, it's in English. I read it, translate it in Spanish, understand it, and then back out into English to speak it, right? I'm a slow reader, and I'm already 67% done with this book from Monday night. I haven't even had a chance to get into it today. From Monday night to today, like, after work and I'm done for the evening, I can't put down this title. So mad props, Andy Weir, Project Hail Mary. It's something I like.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm pulling it up on my audiobook now. Let's see if I can
Books.
get
I got the audiobook too, because like when I'm
Yeah.
washing dishes, I turn on the audiobook, and the narration is awesome. Like, the narration in this book is so well done. Y'all let me know what y'all think if y'all get a hold of it. All right, I guess that wraps us up for the show. Any final thoughts from our co-hosts, Wayne or Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, even here's Mike out of Washington.
Yeah, saw that.
Project Hail Mary is great. The audiobook was read very well. Yep.
Nice. No, I don't think so. Played lots of games the last few weeks, and so
Discord,
Yeah.
BGA, I know Getty brought it up a couple times, and he also posted it in the Discord tonight, the BGA tournament for Can't Stop. So make sure you sign up for that.
Signups are now open.
Signups are open, and I guess that's going to wrap us up. Hey, I welcome your prayers for me and my family. I pray that God blesses you and your family, and I thank you all for watching. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Wade.
And we are the Beans and Dice Podcast.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Good night, everybody.
Weapon!